Hey, what's up, guys? It's Econ Bulldog Day 3 of the challenge. We are covering today. We got FICO Father. The reason I got the jersey on is because I brought my glove because, he about to throw some gems and I want to catch him myself. He's consumed with so much information. He's thrown my way and I haven't ran every play. There's so many plays out there. And this is where everyone in here is your opportunity to build your own plays and then start, franchise them off in your own fashion. Okay. Yesterday I talked about just Amex, getting in the Amex family with as little as a 659. Okay. And congrats to Raul, just finding those gems. Carlos, shout out to you guys for just seeing if you qualify or not. Even if you did it and you didn't qualify, hey, just the fact that you tried. And make sure, real quick, and I want to cover myself, everyone in here, it's pre-approval. That you might click on American Express, it might take you straight to the application. That is going to give you a hard inquiry every time. So you don't want a hard inquiry. Okay? And the goal was, if you apply for Amex, let's say Carlos, whether he got it or not, now he knows he can get that card. Whether he pulled the trigger or not, he can apply for a charge card on the same day with one hard inquiry. Okay, and then everything else after that is going to be within the app. Applying for cards within the app, so no hard inquiry. I mean, if you guys don't know, hard inquiries on your report can weigh you down. That's why I did the 24-hour removal on Experian. Who's ran that play? Press 1 if you ran that 24-hour hard inquiry removal play. Nice, Raul. Carlos, have you ran that play or not yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't run the place. This is when you freeze it, right?
I'm sorry?
Is it when you freeze it?
No, different play. But like I said, I'll have Brandon speak on that like in a moment. But let me just go over this. So, does anyone know how many inquiries they have on their report? Like
a ton.
Does anyone know how many? Okay. Hold on. So nice. Okay, cool. That's cool. Hey, that's cool. Keep it between 3 and 5. Okay. People I've seen high as 37. Okay. Each inquiry can cost you a 1 point to 3 points. Each inquiry. Brandon, how many were removed on yours? Hold on.
So I had 14 inquiries, and I was able to remove 6 or 7 because I do have 9 accounts that are open. So 9, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 6 or 7 inquiries I was able to remove with that play. So
Can you talk about that play?
So you call, first of all, your Credit Karma or Experian, and you don't have to pay for it. You get the free service, and it'll tell you if you go down how many inquiries you have. Then just make sure whatever inquiry you have is not linked to a credit card or an account they had open. Like I had my IKEA from my dealership. I think I had like 3 pulls from them. I no longer have my IKEA. So I was able to get those off, old credit cards. So as long as they're not linked, any credit card you have applied for and you were denied, it got pulled from a hard inquiry, you can remove all those credit cards inquiries as long as it's not connected. If you connect, say you have a Capital One and you try to remove it and it's connected, there's a good possibility that they'll cancel out that card that you have active. So go through and see, you can Google which bank connected to what and go through all of them, and you can see which card is connected and which card isn't, and just get them removed. You call customer service, you let them know that you filed a couple of times, you have fraudulent activity on your through Experian, you've seen your inquiries, and typically if you get a good person, they'll remove them that same day. If not, you just keep calling until you find a customer service agent that will help remove those hard inquiries. I was skeptical at first. It was like, just run the play, so I ran it, and I just checked. I went from 16, and I just checked the other day, and I only have 10 on my hard inquiry, so it definitely works.
Also, real quick, I want to show you guys something.
You're muted. You're mute.
Yo,
You're
Econ,
muted.
you're muted.
You're muted.
We can't hear you.
You're muted.
My bad. Sorry. My bad. So, give me 1 second, guys. 1 second.
Cardigan, or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of gain flings and gain scent beats for an even longer lasting scent.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. If you have great car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates from Illinois.
Switch to Spectrum Mobile. Unlimited data for only $29.99.
All right, real quick, I got some bad news. FICO father can't make it. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to you guys. Hey, just get a little nerves out the way. No, he just called me and he said he's ready like about 5-10 minutes. Yeah, so there you go, Brandon, good job. Equifax, Experian, yeah. The Experian number, traded with the number that I gave you guys, which is up there. But yeah, same numbers. Run this play on everyone. So what you do real quick, go to Credit Karma, download the app for free. That's going to tell you what inquiries you have. It's going to tell you 10. Credit Karma might tell you 10. Equifax might tell you 12. And you cross-reference that with Experian. You open up an Experian account for free, and it tells you how many inquiries. Now, let's be honest, okay? If you ever gone to the dealership and they ran your shit like 15 times, you did not approve that. I never knew that, okay? It goes through a system, an algorithm, so they can pick out who is the person that's going to finance you at the cheapest rate, because they want you to buy the car. So they'll just but the correct way to go to a dealer, like when your credit is right, is you tell them, look, I want to go with your financing. Let's say I want to go with Toyota. That's who I want to get financed with. That's it. Do not run my credit just that one time. And that's how you're able to get the vehicle without them running your credit 15, 16 times. So this is where I'm talking about fraud. Like you didn't authorize those inquiries on your report. So therefore, you should be entitled to disputing those, okay? So real quick, FICO father's right there in the waiting room. Real quick, just to give you guys a heads up. He's gonna give you guys gems. If he feels a room, good energy, he's gonna give you guys more. That's how it is, okay? If you can turn on your videos, please, plus, that way you guys are engaging. Picture's fine. Anna, I see you, thank you. Josh, if you can, cool. Make sure, guys, we're not playing around. FICO father charges about $3 grand to speak. Okay, he's up there. Okay, so appreciate you guys. I see you. Hey, Josh Hernandez right there. Instagram. Oh, dude, I'm loving this right here. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So I'm gonna let you guys. So real quick, everybody, turn off your speaker if you can. I mean, I understand, like, everyone's household's different situation, and I want you guys to scream FICO. All right, everybody. So let's go. Let's get that rhythm going. Okay. So everybody, turn off your speakers. And let's scream FICO. So everybody, when he comes in, I want him to hear it. If you can't scream, hey, I understand. Everyone might be in an office or whatever it is, but if you can do it, man. It means a lot to me and him. All right. So if you can, take off, unmute, whatever, and let's say FICO. Okay. So I want him to hear. All right. Once he's in the room, he's about to be in the room like in one minute. All right. So
you can do a countdown.
What happened?
You can do like a countdown.
Do a countdown.
Yeah, for sure. So we got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
FICO.
FICO.
Yeah.
FICO. Brother. FICO, you there? Internet.
Muted.
Give me a second. Hold on. I just wanted to log in so I can have that set up.
Man, we wanted to give you a good warm welcome. You know what I mean? We appreciate you being in the room.
No problem. Just give me a couple of minutes.
All right, so just a little backstory on how I met FICO. So two, 2 years ago, I was driving home from work, and I would fall asleep on the wheel. Like I get off at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be dozing off. And then to keep me up, I would go on Clubhouse. Keep me up. I connected with FICO on Clubhouse, and man, and he did it all love, like gave me so much information. We were not knowing the guy. Like I felt like I known him our first time. I think we were talking till like 4 in the morning. So that's how we've been close, and he's been giving me gems ever since. So I'm under his mentorship, and he's definitely just worth the value. And I think if I got a personal trainer to keep me accountable, I think I'd be in a good position. But so he's my credit personal trainer. You know what I mean? I think that accountability. If no one's pushing you to do it, if I got to call you and say, hey, did you call TransUnion? Did you send those letters? It's more of a choice. And I know everyone's got, our own situations, but we got to put our priorities straight. If we ain't got our priorities lined up, we're messing around, we're not focused, then, our ultimate vision is to get where we want to be at, whether it's a 700, 750. Hey, if you can get to 850, damn, bro, then definitely, I've never met anyone with the 850. If you've met someone with the 850, please let me know. I've never met someone with the 850. I don't even know what it takes to get to 850 on that level, because you're doing different plays, you're doing different moves. You have so much going on. Some people can't even keep track of 4 cards. What's their balance? What's their this? And for 850, you're set up right. And that's why him as a speaker, talk about his journey, his growth. You know how every successful person has been through the ringer? Like I'm just saying, like Donald Trump, for example, has been bankrupt 3 times in that aspect. So we all got to go through the mud, right, to get where we want to go. So if you're in the mud right now, hopefully this challenge, can change that frequency. Like I said, I appreciate you guys rocking with us. So so without further ado, I got FICO Father.
FICO Father.
Like he probably put me on hold, but he's gonna hop on. Any questions that you have pertaining to your personal, this is your time to ask them. Please do not feel discouraged. I say have the questions ready so you can personally interact with them. Don't even write them in the chat. Don't give the chat any justice. Right now is just about undivided attention for FICO and what he's got to offer as far as this credit plays that he has and what he knows. And he's real frank. You ask him a question, he'll tell you straight up, hey, that's a bullshit card. Don't even think about applying for that. So I'm putting that out there already. That's just his character, and that's how he's built. He's from New York, so I think they walk a little heavy over there. You know what I'm saying? Nothing away from Cali, but we walk a little heavy over here too. But a little pep in his step. But yeah. So if he comes across to, hey man, this guy's hard, man. This guy's rocking on my 550 or whatever. It's for a purpose. So real quick, just let me go around the room. JR, I see you, Victor, David, way to change that IG. That's cool right there, man. Every Zoom that you pop on, it's already there. I don't have to ask you for your IG because the @ sign is there. Okay, so, and let me see. It's always good to see Jake. A little personal. All right, guys. Okay, get ready, guys. Get ready. Like I said, man. Something that I didn't know, and what it pained me was what Brandon talked about. Who here uses debit a lot? Like real talk, it's cool if you use debit a lot.
I do.
I'm like 50-50.
50-50. Now, change that to 100% because if you can discipline yourself to use your card and then pay it right back, you know what I mean? You'll get more reward out of it, even for gas. You know what I mean? Because what are you getting from debit?
Yeah.
Nothing, bro. A headache. So yeah, just have that in turn. Whatever you got to do is credit. And remember, I talked about yesterday when your personal funds, if they if someone hacks into your business debit card and they steal some money from you, it could take up to 2 weeks to get that money back. On a credit, within a day, 24 hours, you get your money back. I don't want to say instant, but I'm sure American Express don't play. So, you're more protected. You're more protected. Me and Raul, we share something pretty deep. If you got kids right here, setting them up right. So they're already, if they're 18, they already come out with the 700, 750 credit score by you putting your trade lines on them. So that's something that, my mom would tell me about credit, but all she really said was, don't pay your bill. That's all she said, pay your bill. And I get it. She's on the call right here. So I appreciate my mom, but she's working, so she's just supporting and, wants to give me, more of like, hey, you can do it. So her name's Liliana right there. But I told her, hey, hop in, mom. It's a heavy call. And, my mom is someone, she's a businesswoman. So she's definitely been done dirty a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? And it just kind of getting back from it. So share your story. Like I really, people are going to connect with their story, whatever it is. We all go through something. And it relates. Joshua, whatever yours, like if you have a story, I might connect because I went through the same thing. And remember, that was something that I didn't want to share. My repo, my car my house home being foreclosed. I thought I failed as a dude or whatever. So don't get discouraged to share your story. FICO, we good? Hold on. I'm like, I don't want to take away from, I don't want to go on a tangent and then he hops in. Oh, I don't want to lose my track of thought. So if you don't know how many inquiries you got, like I said, Credit Karma will tell you. Credit Karma will tell you how many inquiries and then Experian. And remember, you can get the free account on Experian. You don't need to pay for anything on Experian. Okay. And then you guys know FICO Father. If you're on your phone or whatever, do me a favor, follow him on Instagram. Like some of those people that are so great at something, but they're not heavy on social media. Like as far as like Instagram or something, like he's heavy on Clubhouse, but he needs more credit, like where it's due. And I, definitely he brings that that vibe to any setting. So just having him on, like I'm grateful for him. All right. And then I'll share something, intimate just overall, because I feel like, this is a challenge and, we all got to be, intimate and no bullshit, no fluff. So yesterday I had a speaker lined up. So check this out. It was supposed to be Oscar. Oscar was the one I had in mind. Communication got mixed up. He said he would make it. He has to check with his business partner. And then 2 hours into it, he didn't respond. So what did I have to do? I was talking to FICO. I talk to him pretty much every day. And, FICO set that up. So FICO, his circle is real powerful. So he said, look, man, if you want the Turo play, Rodney Rocket Man 228. Yeah, like, hey, that's the guy, man. If you're doing
Rockman.
Yeah, Rockman, right? So I feel like, hey, you know what? And FICO father set that up. Made a call, boom. He was an Air Force veteran. You know, we connected briefly. I said, hey, man, I appreciate you jumping in, right? Because I want to have a speaker every day. And FICO wasn't scheduled to call, wasn't scheduled to hop on the call till today, but he would have done it yesterday. You know, worst case scenario. And then let me know of some friends who would do that for you guys. You know, most people be like, hey, bro, that's your show. You know, I'm out. I'll text you when it's done. You know what I mean? Like kind of like that. So, hold on. Hey, FICO, can you hear me, bro?
Hear you.
All right, bro. Hey, appreciate it again, man. I mean, let me know when you can rock and roll, bro. We're here, bro. We're all students today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Hold on. Let me see.
Everyone has a pen and paper ready for it.
Hey, I need to see them pen and papers going because if FICO's not, you know, he ain't messing around, and you know, time is valuable, guys. Time is valuable. Time is key. But let's give him the love he deserves. Because all right, FICO, it's all you, brother. Whatever you need from us, man.
I want to know how in they want me to go today, man.
Hey, how deep you want him to go, guys? You take off the mic and speak into him. You know what I mean? He can't hear you if you got your mic on.
I gotta hear you guys.
Go in all the way.
All the way.
1,000%. 1,000%.
First of all, you guys gotta thank this guy because I charge $500 an hour. That's the first thing.
Damn.
And I coach and manage over 500 students in 17 states. Got 22 years in the space. I went from an 800 score to a 400 score, and from 400 built it right back up to 850. One of the youngest people to ever do that, to have an 850 score before the age of 40. And my credit limit now on the personal side is 271,500. So I got 5 cards over 30 grand right now. So this is what I'm gonna ask from you guys. I'm gonna throw out some free gems that I normally charge for. I want you guys to screenshot this group, all of us here, and post it on your WhatsApp stories and Instagram and Facebook stories, if you guys don't mind, and tag me in ecom. And also that could be a source for you guys, because you could be like, man, we got these gems from this class that we were in. That could be a marketing thing for you, because you're gonna have stuff that less than 1% of the world got. So people are gonna be, yo, what was that about? And y'all just gotta say, yo, we met one of the youngest people that hit 850, credit lines over $250,000. Y'all want more info, tap in with me. And then y'all work that out. You could even do a trade-off on value with information. You know, what you got for me, what you know? So that's what I would do if I was in the same seat that you guys are in, because not every day you get to meet somebody that has accomplished what I've done. And it was a difficult journey, but I'm glad that I went through it. If any of you guys are going through that, I can assist you, because I was there one day. You see what I'm saying? I was an $80,000 debt. And, you know, I'm able to get credit again. So I'm basically here to let you guys know, no matter where you're at, if you messed up or you just don't know what you're doing or you're getting denied, I can solve all those problems. That's what I specialize in. So we're going to do Q&As at the end, and whatever questions you got, any myths out there, anything you want to second check, talk to me, because this is the right time to do it. Take advantage that, you know, I'm on here and there's no limits. You guys can ask anything you want. So with that said, the first thing I'm going to start with is just so important, is you guys got to be making sure that you're checking your credit minimum on the 1st and the 15th of every month. You should be looking at every single account that you got a bill on. And even if you don't have a bill because you didn't use it, you need to check it. What I do personally, if I see a balance, that's just going to zero. I hate debt. I hate interest. I currently have 3.5 years. I pay no interest, right? 2018, I still remember the date, April 27, 2018. I said, no, I'm not paying no more interest. That day is when I moved back to New York. I was at that moment living in Dominican Republic for a few months. And I was in $15,000 debt. And by July 2018, I was debt free. And that same year, I said, I want that X5, or I want a brand new Mercedes or a Range Rover. And by November 27, my truck was in my hands, because that's when I got the keys. And I have proof of that on my IG, right? Not only that, I said before I get into that truck, I gotta have all the payments for all 36 months and the 3 years of insurance and extra money in case of anything that I need to fix and gas. So I literally have $50,000 in my bank account when I got the truck. People thought I was crazy because my payment is currently $11.95. And I said, I know what I'm doing. I could lose my job, I could make the payment. That's how precautious you guys gotta be. Another thing, another change that I did that has been a big impact for me. In 13 months, including all of 2017, I took 13 vacations in 13 months. I did a huge sacrifice. And I only have taken, I would say, 5 vacations since 2017. That's 2018, 19, 20, 21. And now we just did 22. And I know for sure I have not taken more than 5 vacations, either 4 or 5. So I did that type of a sacrifice, right? But guess what? I got out of debt. Last year, I was up to almost $200,000 saved up. Coming from $15,000 debt, literally, I would say it's gonna be about 4 years on April 27th. That was a major accomplishment for me, right? And this past year, my credit repair business did $250,000. So that was another major gem. Now I was able to accomplish $250,000 in real estate in 7 months, right? Where I was awarded double gold award for Keller Williams, and I was ranked top 9 in the whole entire region for New Jersey and New York for December 2014, which was my best month because I made $105,000 in 1 month in real estate, selling only 2 houses, which totaled almost $3 million. And that was great because I work for Keller Williams. So once you hit a certain threshold, you move up to 100% commission. So all I paid was $50 to cut each check, and I kept the whole entire difference. So that's a highlight for me because, hey, who makes $100,000 after expenses in 1 month? So, and then another highlight for me was last year in March, because they were giving out so much money in the pandemic, I made $30,000 in credit repair in 1 month. Like that was crazy, right? And now I basically just been working on myself. I took a little step back and said, you know what, I wanna take off and take this business where this year I can make it either a $500,000 business or $1 million business. So I said, let me work on less clients and let me work on education. And I have already spent like probably close to $25,000 in my business this year. In the last, I would say 5 months. So you got to invest in yourself. So that I wanted to share with you guys. It's very, very important that you guys invest in yourself because you got to continue to grow. I still invest in myself. I still don't know it all, both in real estate and in credit, right? And I will continue to invest and go to events and network with people. And while you're in those events, take advantage and get IGs, get phone numbers, stay in touch with them, have them follow you. You start posting things. Hey, they might say, yo, I need your help for that. Or I know somebody that wants to learn about that. And that's extra business for you. So one thing for me, whenever I go to an event, I want to make sure that the people I meet there can end up paying for my event that I went to. So if that event cost me $2,000, and because let's say I met JR and JR sent me some business, and I also met Victor in that event, and he sent me some business. Guess what? I got my money back. And on the mentorships that I have taken, that has happened. Like for example, I'm part of RPX. I think I already made over $6,000, and I got in at a steal at $2,500. So that was well worth my money right there. And I'm doing the same with all the other mentorships too. I'm meeting the people that are taking the mentorships, and I'm seeing, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Or is there anything that I can add as value? Let's partner up. You can offer the service. Now you're making money. So like, for example, I don't even know this, but I offer trade lines. So if you guys want to offer trade lines where they become AUs on my heavy hitters trade lines, I pay you guys 25%. So now I just gave you guys another source of income, and you have to do no work. All you got to do is just post, I got these trade lines, and I put that list every month. I'm going to work on trying to put it every like second and third of the month. All you guys got to do is follow me. When you see I put that up, you guys repost it. And now anybody that needs anything, they're coming to you, and y'all come to me, and we work together and do the deal. So that's extra money. And then on the audits that I charge $500, I pay you guys $100. I do all the work. I sit with the client on a Zoom for an hour, and I give them a custom blueprint, and I go through every single part of the report, what I would do if that was my report. What is missing, what is wrong, and what needs to change, and what are the next steps after you accomplish that so you can get prepared for the next level. because you got to make sure that your structure is correct. You got to make sure that you're in business with the right banks. You got to make sure that your weakest link is probably somebody else's strongest link, right? What do I mean by that? My weakest link right now, and I'm working on it, and it took me a little bit more of a time only because American Express only allows one credit line increase every 6 months. So my lowest credit card is 6,000, and my goal is for all my credit cards to be 10,000 or more. So out of all the credit cards I have, there's 3, and unfortunately they were Amex, and they're 6,000, 6,500, 8,000. Now all of them was much lower, so I've been bringing them up. But Amex also, what makes it harder is they only let you go up 3 times the amount. So if you started at 2,000, you only could bump to 6,000. And if you started at 1,400, you only could go to 42. So that one, I already bring it up to 42. And then from 42, I bring it up to 8. So now it's going to be so much easier to get to 10. And then on the last one, I decided not to use one of the lower ones. I used my bigger one, and it was at 14,000. And I ended up getting double on it. I got it to 28,000. So the reason I went for that one was because I know that the amount I was going to gain was going to be much higher. So now I'm going to go after the smaller ones, and it doesn't matter which one I pick because, like I said, they're all right around the corner, 6, 65, and 8. Now, my highest trade line is my Barclays, which is 34,000. That's my highest trade line that I personally own. And I also have 30,000 with FMBO, which is a Las Vegas M Life card. I have an AU that I manage for my dad, which is 31,000. That's the heavy hitter one right there. It has 22 years and 4 months of age. So on any report I put that is a wrap. I just put in a client that had no open accounts, had a couple of collections. I removed them. I put the AU, his score between the 3 increased close to 700 points, and he was approved for a house. Mind blowing. I still don't believe it. I had to call the wife and say, I want to know everything that they asked for. I mean, it's crazy. The wife told me, man, and him and my friend too, whenever you want to go to Denver, Colorado, you have a place to stay here. You don't have to give us nothing. Come visit. We're expecting you to come now this year. I was like, wow. They were like, we're so grateful because if it wasn't for you, there was no way he was going to buy this house. His scores were in the, I believe, mid 500s, low 500s. You know, and I got him over 700 on all of them within a matter of like 60 days. So like it's just crazy. I still don't believe it. And I'm in the space 16 years because what happens is they use what's called alternative credit, right? So what happens with alternative credit, you can show them like, I've been paying my car insurance or I've been paying my rent. And then they want to see 12 months of history of you doing that. And she's telling me they didn't ask him for none of that. Like I said, I'm still in shock. So my next goal would be to speak to that lender because man, if she could do those moves in New York or in other states like Florida, California, where there's just a heavy amount of clientele that I'm associated with, Atlanta, North Carolina, and you know, many other states, Texas, I could go on and on. But that's a huge connect right there. But guess what? I built that, watch this, because I knew her brother and I knew her husband. They knew me when I was doing club promotions. So like I said, I'm always building relationships everywhere I go. And I'm always getting referrals everywhere I go. And if you guys are business owners, you need to have business cards. Everywhere you go, you got to give somebody a business card. And if you have to, I'm very aggressive. I grab their phone and I follow myself because I'm trying to get that follower count up. And if I can get them to post something for me, I do it. I'm gonna share something that's completely separate from what you guys were expecting here. But I'm gonna share this with you guys because I want to see you guys win. And this is one of the major reasons why I got 2 six-figure businesses, because of the internet. You guys are not utilizing the internet, you're dropping the ball. If you feel uncomfortable sharing it with your personal page, then make a business page. You gotta make a business page. And I expect every single person here, regardless if you have a business or not, you need to make a business page and get a business LLC. Because if you really want to get to the bag, the money's on the business side. And you gotta let it age. Some people, oh, I don't know what I want to get a generic name. I have a generic name, Global Specialty Group LLC. That was my name. So make a generic name. And also when you're picking what it's for, try to pick something that you can use it for multiple things. Another thing is be very careful. There's a lot of red flags when you make the LLCs. So I'm gonna see if I can put something together that I can send to you guys when I'll type in with e-com so that we can work on that. So like, for example, you don't wanna put, what is it, consultant. One of my favorite is enterprise. And it sounds very, very appealing. It sounds like you're a big company. So I use that. In my example, I use the word group because I want them to see that there's manpower behind everything, you know? And when you go into business with somebody, and they see that you're very professional, it makes a huge difference. And another thing I'll add is you gotta spend some money. I know some people don't wanna spend money, but you gotta get your business address, right? Virtual address, not a home address, no PO box. You gotta get your business phone number, your business fax number, your business website, and your email cannot be at Gmail or Yahoo. That does not look professional. That can hurt your funding, and they'll give you less or deny you, just so you guys know. So you gotta make sure you take this serious if you guys are really trying to get 50,000, 100,000, 150, 250, because when you're John57@gmail.com is not the same, compared to, John at foreverenterprise.com. I'm just making something up. But you see, when you're at that level and then they ask you for a website, you say, no, I don't have a website. They're like, how serious are you taking your business? So another thing I'll add is not just making sure the business is right, because a lot of people think they do all this business stuff. And no, they're looking at your personal as well. Your personal has to be on point, right? Because your personal is what they detect to see what you could carry. And then the great thing also I want to add about the business side, I want to go back to that, is you should be hiding your debt on the business side. So this you guys got to write down. These are the 3 business cards I do not want you to get. And the reason being is because they're going to show up on your personal credit report, and that's going to drop your scores if your utilization is high. So that's Capital One, Discover, and TD Bank. Stay away from those 3 when you're applying for business credit. Now they're working on converting, but until they convert, and they've been saying that for a while, I'm recommending them, right? Now, if you really want to have some sauce on your profile, the goal is to get tier 1 banks. So write these down. This is what you need to have on your file. My favorite, Chase, respected everywhere. Bank of America, Citibank, and Wells Fargo. Those are the bomb. You have those cards, you get a separate plate on the table, right? Now, another thing is, even if you don't have those, the goal is to work towards them, right? And then write this down. Remember, I said it earlier, but I want to make sure you guys write it down. The goal is that these credit cards are at $10,000 or more, right? The Sapphire, the one with the high annual fee, I believe is the reserve. Yeah, the reserve. That one starts at 10,000. So once your profile is right, that's one that you want to get, because that's going to open the door to those high limits. Why is that important? When you go apply to another bank, they're going to say, wow, he got high limits and he's with the big dogs. And if you guys don't think this makes sense, I'm going to bring you guys back to high school and junior high school. And I learned this from my man, Flame Newton. When you went to the lunchroom, didn't you notice that people were separated by either nationality or what kind of role you played in that school? So if you were geeky or you were her, if you had to sit in a certain table, right? And the cool people sat at another table, and one of the geeky persons tried to sit in one of those tables, what did they do to them? Can somebody answer? Somebody unmute their mic and tell me, what did they do to them when they tried to sit on the table? What were the things that went wrong for that person because they attempted to sit at that table that they shouldn't be sitting on?
They would get clowned.
What else?
Start telling them, what are you doing here, kid? Get out, push them out. You know, they don't want them there. Hey, if you're not about the same business, then you got to get out. If you're not one of us, don't be trying to be.
Yeah, and then also they would slide their plate of food on the floor, right? They'll slide it off the table and onto the floor. Or even worse, they'll take their head and they'll smash it into the food. It was that bad, right? Well, guess what? Let's say, for example, Josh knew somebody. Josh stepped up for them and said, that's my boy or that's my family. Guess what? That relationship with Josh opened the door so that person could fit in. That's how it works. That's why you got to make sure you got the right cards, because you could have a so-so credit, but because you got Chase, the other banks might give you a chance, right? But if your credit is like that, and then you got a whole bunch of Credit One, Finger Hut, First Premier, Milestone, Indigo, My Jewelers, all that shit is trash. Department store cards too, trash. That's not what you want to have on your profile. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's very, very important what you put on there, right? Now, the other thing I want to add is that Other good banks that are good too are the credit unions. They're tier 3. FMBO, that's a tier 3 bank. A few tier 2 banks that I could give you guys. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bless you guys. I'm gonna give you my personal list. So just give me a second so I can look it up, because I want to make sure that I don't leave nothing out, and I bless you guys with the entire list. And I also do this. I'm gonna share with you guys the list of the cards that I personally would not get. Now, if you have these cards, I would not cancel them yet. I will replace them with the heavy hitters. And as long as you guys are not getting a big loan, personal loan, a mortgage, an auto, then then at that point, like for example, let's say I'm not, and I got all that stuff in place and they've been there for 2 years, then I'll cancel them after I pay them up in full. But if you plan to get any of these things, leave it there, get those things first, and then now you go for it, because you want to make sure you can absorb that hit, because you are going to take a hit. You see what I'm saying? So I personally coach and mentor people on how to do all of that to make sure they don't make mistakes. So let me read this to you guys, right? So this is how it goes. Stay away from the following. If you already have them, any of them, then you need to cancel them, but you got to speak to me first. So Applied Bank, Arrow, Aspire, Ascent, Platinum, MasterCard, Avent, Blaze, Shimmy Stride, Credit One, Deserve, Destiny, Finger Hut, First Access, First Digital, Next Generation, First Premier, First Progress, Fit, Fortivia, Freedom, Genesis, Celtic Bank, Green Dot Premier, Group One, Horizon, Indigo, One United, Unity, Platinum MasterCard, LendUp, Merrick Bank, Milestone, Michelin, Net First Platinum, The Open Sky, Oxford Bank, PCV Secure Visa, Reflex MasterCard, Rivi, Self-Lender Secure Card, Surge MasterCard, Total, and I don't like the Venmo credit card. I would not get none of those, right? Okay, write this down. Stay away from store cards. Stay away from any accounts with the word financial or finance. BMW Financial, Ali Financial. No, you're gonna get those vehicles, go through your credit unions, or I gave you the top 4 banks and get a loan directly from them, because that's gonna give you even more sauce to your file, right? Stay away from any tier 4, which are the ones that I just named. They're considered low value junk cards, also known as subprime banks. So that's why you want to stay away from them. Now, I gave you guys already the tier 1s, the tier 3s, and the tier 4s. Now I'm gonna give you the tier 2s. Very, very good tier 2s. American Express. Surprisingly for me, I would have thought they were tier 1, but they're not a big bank. So they have them as tier 2. All right, I love them. Barclays, another great one. BHG, another one. BBT. Now, this one I only recommend as a worst case scenario if nobody else wants to get you in the door between tier 1, 2, and 3, right? Now, the reason being is it's being very, 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 very annoying and horrible. They're not working with us, right? They're not giving credit limit increases. They're not lowering interest rates. They're actually decreasing limits, right? They're closing accounts even if you're 2 months late. That's crazy. I have a client, they close all 3 of their accounts, their business and their 2 personal, because they were 60 days late. That the bank is Capital One. So I'm not recommending Capital One. All right, now let me give you the rest of the tier 2s. Citizen Bank. I love this cover. One of my favorite was the second card I started with after I messed up my credit. HSBC, Key Bank. Very good for business credit. Oh my God, they're giving that sauce on the loans, right? They're giving out 49,000 like nothing, plus a line of credit of another 20. M&T Bank, which is merging with People's Bank. Those are 2 different banks, but they're merging in the process. PNC Bank, SunTrust, which is merging with BTT. Let me see what else I got. TD Bank, and I leave you guys last with US Bank, which was my first secure card when I started building my credit. Currently my oldest card, 5 years and 10 months. So I gave you guys, this is my research of 22 years that I put together that I just shared with you guys. It would take you guys forever to put that together. So that's a lot of hard work and sweat. I invested into my business with all type of fields when it comes to mortgages, insurance, real estate, credit professionals, you know, like I said, 22 years of work, over $200,000 in mentorships and courses, you know, throughout my life to basically pick top level people's work, presidents, VPs of companies, managers, branch managers, just to put all that together. So I normally don't give that out, but you guys got to thank Econ for that. Because like I said, I take that with me and I share that for people that go long-term on my mentorships. But y'all told me to go all in. I said, I'm going to go all in, right? Let me see what else I can add that is very important. Make sure that your payment history is on point. You shouldn't be late. So what I started doing, you know, and everybody's situation is different, right? But I have everything on auto pay to pay the full balance because I don't want to pay interest, right? But you got to make sure that you're going to be able to cover that. We don't want an overdraft, right? Another thing a lot of people don't know, these overdrafts, whenever they happen on your accounts, that affects your fundability. And you also get placed in the check system or early warning system. You don't want to be there, right? And also be careful with, sometimes you see people say, hey, cash this for me, and I'm going to give you something from it. Most of the time, that's all scams. So stay away from that. A lot of people be saying, do me a favor, cash this money order, cash this check. You give them the money, and then guess what? The bank is telling you, hey, that check is good, that money order is no good. Guess who's stuck with the problem if you don't pay that back? And you're still getting labeled as a fraudster. So I don't do those kind of favors for nobody. I'm sorry. If you need me to do that for you, you're already up to no good because why don't you have an account? Did you get blacklisted already? And now you're trying to get me in the hole? Nah, I'm good. So fast money can be a problem. Be very, very careful who you associate yourself with. And I bring this to your attention. You know, majority of you guys might not fall into the trap, but you'll be surprised how many people fall into this trap because they're trying to be nice and help out their friend. So be very, very, very careful because everybody's not your friend, you know? And there might be some cases where they mean to do that, but I'd rather not take the risk, right? That's the same thing as if you're traveling and somebody says, hey, can you take this for me? You don't know what's in there. I have had family that has friends that ended up getting deported because that was drugs that they were bringing. So I don't do those kind of favors. If I don't physically go buy that product, I'm not bringing it for nobody. So somebody wanted a jersey, I went to the store, I bought it, I packaged it, so I gave it to them, right? But if they would have gave me something closed up, I'm not doing it because I don't know what's in there. And it's not that I think you're gonna do something, right? But why take that chance? You just never know. So I also wanted to throw that to you guys because, you know, a lot of people don't have that knowledge, right? Because either they never ran into that or they don't know anybody that did. So if I could do anything to, you know, to protect you guys, right? Because as we grow and we start making more money, we're always going to be traveling and people are always going to be asking for things. Oh, I have somebody that wants to send me something. And you need to be careful. You really do. You might not think it's important, but once you start seeing that happens to somebody close to you, you'll be like, man, I remember when I was in a room with FICO father, he told me about that. That's crazy. And it happens, man. So just be careful. You know, the type of things that you guys associate yourself with when you're doing favors for people. Now I'm gonna get back to the credit. So like I said, I personally log in on the 1st and the 15th. For people that have trouble with debt, what I have them do is every Friday they log in and everything's zero. And the reason I do that is just I want them to stay out of debt, right? Because when you do it that way, you tend to be more cautious, right? And you're like, wait, I remember FICO father's gonna be on me because he wants me to pay this debt on Friday. So now you're really thinking before you swipe that card, right? Because it's not free money, right? Same way when you have no credit and you're depending on a debit card. If it doesn't have funds, you can't swipe it. So I want you to treat it the same way. If you got the funds in your bank account, yes, I want you to swipe it. Why? Because I want you to build credit, because I want you to get cash back. And if you got cards that are not giving you guys cash back, stop using them. If you could pay with something with a credit card, don't pay cash. Don't use a money order. Don't use a check. What's the reason for that? Plus, if you have any issues and you want to do a chargeback, the credit card can protect you. But if you use the other means, you're going to have a hard time getting your money back. So you use the credit cards, right? And plus, you want your credit to get stronger. You want them to lend you more money. You want to get the better accounts. And when you start getting these new accounts with, let's say, 0% interest, where you can invest in your business, where you can get up to 21 months no interest. I even seen a card the other day, 22 months no interest. You know, the most common is like 12 months, 14, 15 months and things like that. But imagine if you guys had access to that amount of money, 50,000, 100,000. And you say, what? I'm gonna invest it, let's say, for example, and it don't have to be the business you guys are doing. You might say, you know what? I could buy an apartment and rent it out. I got people that are buying cars and putting them on Turo, and then they take all the profits that they make and they start bringing down that debt. So by the time the interest kicks in, they're done with the debt. Now watch this, is the great thing about credit. If you're not done with the debt, you could put the money on another card by doing a balance transfer, and then you get another 12, 15, 18, 21 months, no interest. Now you're juggling 0% interest for almost what? Over 3 years, 3.5 years right there, depending on the cards that you get. That's fucking fire. Who the hell's gonna give you $50,000 no interest for that long, right? And you're following my model, you're gonna get more credit because they're gonna see that you took that 100 bands, and by the time you did that move, you probably paid off more than half of it, right? And you're gonna be increasing your credit. That's another thing. Don't just stay there every couple of months, 3 to 6 months max. You should be calling and increasing these limits. The worst they could say is no, right? But if you don't ask, you don't get. I just had a student right now. I looked at their file. $500 was the limit on the Home Depot card. They have 5 years with it. I'm like, are you kidding me? I said, you're calling them right now. He said, right now? Yeah, right now. We called them. I said, we're gonna ask for 10. I said, nah, you know what? 15. We got the 15,000. The biggest jump I ever seen besides mine is where I went from 300 to 15,000. Never ever seen, right? This is a guy with no credit knowledge. He went from 500 to 15,000 because I showed him how to fill out the application. And he couldn't believe it. I had another client. I said, hey, we're gonna apply for a credit card. Are you sure? Of course, I'm FICO father. So I said, you're gonna apply for Discover. I said, this is exactly how you're gonna do it. I said, you sure? I said, yes. They applied. It was the first time they ever had a 5-digit credit card. Discover approved them for $12,000. Prior to that, they only had a $4,000 credit card. Throughout the home phone call, as I'm finishing the coaching call, they couldn't just stop talking about, I still don't believe I got approved. I said, then pinch yourself, because it's true, right? They couldn't believe it. And I said, when you know what they're looking for, you control what you get. So you gotta know what needs to be in place, right? With that said, what helped him and what helped her, their credit cards were low utilization. So you guys need to call all your credit cards and you need to find out when they report, right? Because we were just talking about payment history always being on time. That's worth 35% of your score. Utilization is worth 30% of your score. So when those two things are intact, forget about it. You opening those doors, right? Because that's 2/3 of your credit score. That's 65%. Right now, what I personally do is that 5 days prior, I'm bringing it down and I'm not using that card. If I have to pay something, I will use another card. Also, I make sure all my cards don't close the same week. So I got cards that close in the beginning of the month, in the middle of the month, and towards the end of the month. So I have them all mixed up. So that way I say, well, I can't use this card because it's gonna close, right? So now I have option B. I'm gonna use these cards. So you gotta know your closing dates, right? Another thing, if you wanna maximize on your points, you should write down in your phone, if I go to the restaurant, this is the card I'm using because it gives me this percentage. If I'm gonna pay for my cell phone bill, like for me, I have it on auto pay. Unfortunately, the card doesn't exist no more. They try to get me to switch. I say, you crazy, hell no. I get 5% cash back on my cell phone bill and all the cell phones I buy because I put it on auto pay and I bill the phone to my T-Mobile account. So since I bill it to the account, it's on auto pay, I get 5%. So if I buy a $1,000 phone, I'm only paying $950. If I buy a $2,000 phone, then I'm paying only $1,900 because I'm getting that 5% kickback, right? Plus the cash back that the card gives me. So that's another kickback on top of that, right? And I'm building credit, right? Now, with the utilization, my personal preference is 0 to 1%. And I tell my students try to stay between 0 to 5. Why I say that? The people that have an 800 to an 850 score tend to keep the utilizations under 6%, right? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I said, you know what? I'm using 0 to 5, right? Like I've seen cases where they say under 6, I've seen cases under 7. So I said, you know what? I'm going to play it safe and I'm going right under the radar. 5%, we're not going past that, right? Now, to give you guys a little bit breakdown on the ratios, 0 to 9% is considered excellent. And that's where you want to be when you're going for funding. But I'm super cautious and I want to be super ahead of the curve. So I want my people to 0 to 5 or 0 to 1 like me, right? Now, if you're at 10% to 29%, that's considered good. Anything over that is a red flag. And that's gonna hurt your score tremendously. In cases I've seen anywhere from 30 to 50, 60 points. And obviously the more you go, the more it's gonna drop, where it can drop up to 165 points. So you don't wanna max out your cards. If you do, you wanna bring them down before that information is sent to the bureaus, right? So that's a key thing. I do want you to use them, I do want you to max them out, but you gotta make sure that you're bringing down that balance when they're gonna send that information over to the bureaus, because that's the information that's gonna go and reflect on your reports, and that's gonna cause your scores either to go up, go down, or stay the same, right? So make sure you know those dates, right? Now, the next thing that's important is the length of history. The length of history is worth 15%, right? So you wanna try to age all your accounts over 2 years, right? Especially loans, a lot of people don't know this. Loans develop value between 6 months, 12 months, and 24 months. So once you got 24 months, then if you need to close them for whatever reason, that's fine. But taking a loan out and closing it in 3, 4, 5 months, that is super trash. Don't do that, you're weakening your file. And you're not showing enough managing experience. It's almost like you're throwing the towel and giving up because you can't afford it. And that's why you got rid of the loan. So if you guys apply for loans and they tell you, hey, you want a 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months term, do not take it. Minimum 24 months. The only condition that I have my students get rid of a loan prior to 24 months, but not prior to 1 year, is if the rate is very, very high, or they're gonna move that debt into the business side so that they free up the debt to income ratio so they can be able to get more credit or buy a house. That's it. If that's not the case, we're gonna go to the 2-year mark. After that, you can do whatever you want, right? Because I want you to get what's called the seasoned trade line. So write that down. My account doesn't become a seasoned trade line if it doesn't report 24 months of positive payment history, right? And the reason I say exactly 24 months of positive payment history because I don't accept negative. So I'm not gonna mention negative, right? You only need 24 payments, 24 months, and I want them all positive. We should never be late. You should only be applying for stuff that you can handle. So if you can't handle it, then this is not the time to apply for it. Then you gotta wait, you gotta prepare and set yourself up to not fail, right? So a lot of times we start taking things out and then we get into too much debt and then we end up losing everything that we just worked so hard for. And you can't get back your primary age. Right now, my oldest account today will be over 22 years old with Bank of America. I can't get it back. It's gone. No matter what I do, I called them 15 times. They won't give it back to me. They say you got to open a new account. So protect your credit, especially if it's a good bank, right? Another thing, I like to tell people not to pay stuff. There we go. Those are the numbers. That's the pie chart of what I'm talking about. I'm going to get to the other two. So I got a little thrown off with the pie chart. I'm trying to see what was the little sauce I wanted to throw in there. That threw me off because that motivates me when I see that chart, man. I want to make sure that I'm hitting every single percentage on it. So with the length of history, right? With some people do this, right? And they do it when they're trying to get into exotic cars, where they'll get rid of it every 8 months, right? So I tell the person, if you could stretch it out for another 4 months, I prefer that. But if you guys decided that you're trying to get into a Lambo or a very high-end car, you could do it every 8 months. But I want to get a little bit more season credit. That's why I rather at least do 12 months if I'm gonna do car hopping. That's the other option where I tell my students it's okay. But again, my golden nugget is that 24 months, right? And also you could do that with the loans, right? A lot of people don't know this, and the same thing with mortgages, right? Which I don't like to do it too much with mortgages because you got a lot of closing cost fees. But with car loans, you actually gain more points when you refinance the loan every 24 months. The only thing is that you're gonna get a higher rate. So if I have a really, really good rate, I'm not refinancing, right? If I'm gonna refinance, I'd rather just go get a new car, trade it in. If I'm getting a good deal, then I'll go get another 24 more months and to my pile, right? Because I'm getting a new account. Because another thing is, the sooner you get past, let's say 10 accounts, you're ready for funding. So the goal, write this down, is a minimum of 10. I recommend 12, but a minimum is 10 accounts, right? Because if you're trying to get $100,000 and you only have 2 accounts on your credit report, you're not gonna get $100,000. You don't have enough managing experience. But once you got 10 plus accounts, a $10,000 limit, your utilizations are as close as possible to 0 to 1. You got, let's say, in my preference, obviously 2 years or more with these credit cards. You could even do it at a year. There's nothing wrong with pulling the trigger at a year, right? Those banks, they love you, right? Now, this is another thing I'm gonna add, is the mix of credit. There's only 2 ways to build credit, loans and credit cards. And those are the 2 best ways. That bullshit about adding utility bills, stay away from that. That's that Experian boosted. I don't like it because you're giving them your personal information. So God forbid you have any delinquencies, they have access to see where your funds are coming from. They could use that against you, right? So don't attach Experian boost. That's a huge mistake, right? Now Equifax is trying to do something like that, where they can build your credit through some type of installment by you giving them their bank accounts. Do not do that. That just came out. Stay far away from giving these CRAs, credit reporting agencies, your bank info, right? Another thing that doesn't make no sense, when you're using Experian Boost, is paying with your banking information and you're not getting no credit for it, right? On all 3. Yeah, it's showing up on Experian, but because you didn't pay with your credit card, you didn't get credit on TransUnion Equifax for that purchase. Now, and you're not getting cash back majority of the time. So if you're trying to get those credit line increases, they don't even know you're spending all that money because you're putting it through your, let's say, debit card, or you're writing checks, or you're connecting your bank account. So if you guys are doing that, you need to switch. You need to put these things through your credit cards, because that's going to help you guys get those higher limits, right? You want to have, I would say, at least 2 or 3 auto loans, right? That's very, very strong for your file. Also, at least 1 or 2 personal loans. And obviously my favorite, the mortgage. You got a couple of mortgages on there, man, that's generational wealth. You guys got to think, like, we got the energy now to work, but when we're 60, 70 years old, we don't want to be working. So if you start at an early age investing in real estate and you pay that off, bro, that's a couple of $1,000s coming in and you're not even lifting anything heavy. So if there's anywhere you guys want to go when you start making some good money, invest in real estate. I don't care if you guys don't do it with me. Do it for you guys. And that's something you guys can leave and you can pass down to your kids, right? If you look at the majority of millionaires, they all, I would say, almost own real estate. And they try to own more than one. And see what industry has the most millionaires. And I bet you it'll be through real estate. You could do your own research, right? And I won't sell nothing because of the capital gains. If I do sell, it's because I'm going to merge it into a bigger project. So I'll do what's called a 1031 exchange, right? Because they're taxing you sometimes 30%, 25%. I'm not paying all that back. That's crazy. Imagine I have a $1 million profit. I got to give them 300,000. They're out of their mind. I'm holding on to that property and I'm going to keep on getting passive income out of it, right? And another thing is, and I don't specialize in this, but we need to start taking the things off of our personal name and putting them into a trust. So basically, you own everything, right? But not under your name. So what happens is you're controlling everything still, and in sense, quote unquote, you don't control it because they don't see it, but you really do. And the great thing is when you have it in a trust and you guys pass away and it gets passed down to your kids, they don't have to pay capital gain on that transfer over to them. So a lot of people don't know that, right? And another thing I want to add, make sure you guys have wills in place and all these trusts, because a lot of times when you guys pass away because you guys didn't do anything, your kids are fighting for all this stuff. Your family members are all fighting for all this stuff. This is ridiculous. But that's because we didn't have anybody to coach us. But, you know, I got to give them their credits. Who are the most prepared? The white people. The minorities, we don't prepare ourselves because a lot of times we're being closed-minded or we're being cheap. You know, and I don't want to see that. I want to see you guys win. And even if you're white, I'm still gonna also tell you because I want to see everybody win. I don't have limitations. I work with every single kind of race. I don't care where you're from. I don't care about age. I don't care about anything. And that has helped my business being open to work with everybody. Man, if I could go back in time, I wish I could have learned more languages. I only know Spanish and I know English. I wish I would have known more languages. That's a huge benefit, especially for a person like me, where I have a little bit of experience everywhere. besides the three that I named you guys, but I don't know if I went into deep. I also know mortgages, so I'll be my third. And I know a little bit about insurance and taxes and a little bit about the cars, right? And the reason why I educated myself in those other ones is because I want to make sure I'm not getting screwed, right? I want to make sure that I can negotiate the best possible deal. And I will still reach out to a professional, right? And more than one to see the different opinions that they're giving me. And then go with the one that is gonna, you know, obviously give me that better deal, right? And more than anything, the one that I trust the most. Because it's not always about always having the cheapest price or quote unquote the best deal. You want to make sure that you're not getting screwed because you got to know what you're signing, right? So like when it comes to real estate and credit, I don't need to speak to nobody, but look how many years I got. On the other ones, like for a car, I still want to speak to somebody, make sure that they look over my contract. Hey, does this look right before I sign it, right? And the same thing, I'll still hire a lawyer to help me for a real estate transaction, right? Because I want to make sure that I don't miss out on that fine print. So write that down. Make sure y'all reading the fine print. You got to know what you guys are signing up for. A lot of times we've been so quick to sign contracts. You guys got to read everything. You got to always look at what's my exit strategy with anything you guys get involved with. You got to look at the pros and cons. When I start talking about the cons, nobody wants to hear it. You don't know what tomorrow brings. Same thing when you invest in real estate. I'll be like, yeah, that's a cheaper property. I'd rather you go with this one. How are you going to go to an area where everybody got garages and driveways and yards, and you're going to buy a property with none of that? Why do you think the house is still on the market? Nobody wants it. So guess when you're trying to sell it, nobody wants it. And when it comes to appreciation, you think yours is going to appreciate more, or the one that has all these advantages, detached, has a basement, has 2 bathrooms versus 1. You got to look at all those things. Now, if you buy one that needs work and also has room for expansion, that's a different story, because now you're looking at that long term, right? So those are the things that you guys need to look at. I'll throw a little gem for you guys right here. Me personally, I would not buy a house in front of a highway or a cemetery or a gas station. They have less value. Most people are not going to tell you that. They just want to do the sale. But when I work with a buyer, if they don't hire me to be their personal agent, and that's called a buyer agent, and sign a contract where my full obligation and commitment is to them, I'm not working with them. Because if they don't sign that contract with me, I work for the seller. Even though I'm showing them the house, my interest is the seller. So what happens is when I'm negotiating the price of that property and you tell me you're willing to go up, by law, I'm supposed to tell the seller that. So you drop the ball and thinking because we're friends and we got cool during the process, you could tell me everything. No, you can't. If you don't hire me as your agent, you're not supposed to be disclosing that information. Another thing is I prep the wives because they're the ones that unfortunately sometimes put the foot in the door, right? And they get too excited. I don't blame them. They see that house with that gorgeous kitchen or the bathroom, right? And they get too excited. So, we got to pinch them and like, be like, yo, stay quiet. Because if they know that you're still in love with the house, they're not going to negotiate it because they already know you want it, right? So you got to be careful with that. Same thing with the man cave. If you go see a crazy man cave with a nice pool table and a nice little bar, or maybe, they got a nice attic that's hooked up as a man cave, show your emotions after you leave. I could even be crazy about the house and I won't show my emotions. They'll be like, what do you think? Yeah, it's all right. But I'm lying. I don't want the seller to know, right? Now, if I'm in the negotiation process, that's a different story. I'm very aggressive. I go to the seller, hey, I want to make this deal happen for my clients. What would it take to make a deal? And then how I soften it, I said, I can't guarantee they're going to do that, but I'm going to do my best because I want to make this deal work. And then I go back to the buyer and I let them know, this is where we got to come in if you really want this house. And then another thing I also say, if you lose this house, what are the other ones going to cost you? And if they cost more, we're going in full price over asking. Because if you lose that house because you were being cheap, the next one is going to cost you more and it's not as nice. So you got to also take that into consideration, and especially in this market. Right now, majority of the houses are going over asking, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 over asking. So if you don't come in ready to play, you're going to lose the house. And the worst thing is that you go through 10 houses, you finally found the one you want, and now you lose it. So I let them know up front. Or I say, hey, go to open houses, wear yourself out, go see 20, 30 houses. Then come to me when you're ready. And every single time you go, let them know you have an agent and give them my business card. Because by that time, they already know what they really want if they don't know from the first time I go out with them. But you got to be that prepared. I think that is so crucial, right? Going back to the credit, sorry, I'm throwing a little extra stuff in there, but I just want to make sure that if there's anything of value that I could throw on extra for you guys through my 22 years of expertise, you know, I want to give you guys some extra value that's not part of this, right? Because you guys told me to go all in. So as I go along, I think of things and I say, hey, this is a memory that I had 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, right? So the last thing that's part of the puzzle, right? Because account mix is worth 10%. So you want to make sure you have both, is hard increase. Hard increase, write this down. You want to be as close as possible to 0, right? And 1 or 2 every 2 years is not bad. Once you have, like, say 5 or 6, is like a red flag. So you could be denied for the big banks. They could also lend you less because they think that you're desperate for credit because you're over applying. So stop being so quick to start running your credit for things. Because the one thing I do hate to see is you guys run your credit and then you don't even get the damn product. What was the purpose of running your credit? Happens all the time. Oh, I went car shopping. And then I look at the report and then I say, did you get the car? No. I'm like, what was the point? And then the worst part, you go car shopping and you go to the dealer and they run your credit and then you got like 20 inquiries. No, get approved by your bank. Go with a check in hand and you're worth more because you tell them if you guys are not willing to work with me on the price, I got a check on me right now. I'll just go to the next bank. Also, don't let them know how much is the check. Always let them know it's less because they're going to make you want to use the whole thing and you don't have to. Now, if you decide you want a little bit more add-ons like the leather, the sunroof and things like that, then that's when you can, you know, say, oh, how much is this? And then you decide. And at the end, when you're ready and everything's fully negotiated, that's when you bring out the check. You don't need to tell them how much it is. You just tell them, I want a car and I'm looking for, let's say the check is 50,000. I'm looking for, what's the best car you got for 40,000? You have the ball in your court. Always leave yourself a cushion to play with. Same thing when in my services, right? If I know I could do a job in let's say 6 months, I tell the client 6 to 12 months, right? Because if I get it done before the 12 months, they think I'm the man, because I told them a year. But if I tell them 6 months and it takes me 8 months, even though I got the job done, they're upset. Same thing if I'm gonna do a calculation on a mortgage, even though I'm not the lender. If I think your mortgage is gonna be $2,400, I'm gonna tell you it's $2,500 or $2,600. Or I'm gonna sell your house for $800. I'm gonna tell you, hey, I think we could sell it for like maybe $775, $750. If I sell it for more, you love me. But if I sell it for less, you're upset. So I always leave a cushion on everything I do because one thing I want to come out of their mind is that I over-delivered. That's gonna give me more referrals than anything. So you gotta make sure that you don't eat your words. Write that down. Make sure you deliver what you're offering. That's crucial for your business. While you're in the process working with them and they're getting results, that's the time to ask for referrals. That's the time for them to post what you have done for them, right? When they come in and meet with you, that's the time you want those reviews. Because they're there with you. They're happy. You're giving them what they need. And they still need more from you. They're going to do those things for you. If you have to grab their phone and post for them because they don't know how to do it or they're too slow, you grab their phone. And then you go post. For example, let's say, for example, get anybody here, tell me a business that you guys are in.
E-commerce.
You're in e-commerce, right?
Yeah.
Are you in the business also to sell people stories as well or no?
You could say
refer
that,
them?
yes. You
Or
could say
refer
that,
them
yes,
at least?
Refer them?
Referral, yeah, you get paid, right?
No.
If he sends you a client that wants to open a store, you pay him a referral e-com?
I'm not at that point, no.
No, JR does same thing, automation, trying to run his business, Facebook on the marketplace,
Yes.
right, JR?
Yes.
So, but he's not selling stuff.
I am selling products on people's marketplaces accounts that can make them anywhere from 3 to 6K a month. And I split it down the middle 50-50 for the client and myself.
Okay, so your clients post their stores all the time, they make money. Are you doing that?
No, not at this moment, no. I need to
You're
begin. I need to
leaving
start doing that.
so much money on the table.
Yeah.
You should be posting even when there's no results. Hey, this month in, we got these products. Check out my store. Now you're also bringing up their revenue because people are going to start checking out the store.
Yes.
You have to tell their followers to post for them. Some of them will do it. You can't expect everybody to do it, but tell them, hey, can you post this on your stories? Guess what can happen out of that? Not forget about them buying from them. Hey, what's that about? They're going to refer that to you. And now you got another client. You're leaving so much money on the table.
Facts. You're right.
This is not even part of the call, but I said I'm gonna go deep. That's what I talked about with that marketing, right?
I'm gonna add something real quick.
Yeah, hold on real quick. How much does that cost you doing that?
It doesn't cost me a dime. Like
all profit.
All profit.
Go
like
ahead.
Literally somebody in this call could be like, hey, you want me to work on your Facebook account? 50-50. It's that easy. I don't charge up front.
I remember when I did Shopify and I would do like $100 a day, like someone that loved me, my wife, would even tell me, babe, don't post that. Nobody wants to see $100. People want to see 10,000, 20,000. And I had to make her understand because she don't have that mindset. I said, babe, I'm just documenting my process. This 100 right here, you see it as 100 right now a day. Give me 2 weeks, give me a month, give me 2 months, and it slowly increased. And then we had a talk like 3 months in, and she said, hey, babe, sorry, I see what you were doing. See what I mean? So someone that just doesn't understand the space, even if you had a client, even if you got $500, that's $500 that we not having. You know what I mean? Just in general from a spectator, and people always watching, bro. Especially the haters. They love to watch your shit, man. They pay more attention on your shit than themselves, man. You want to be so busy that you don't even got to worry about who's watching your story. All you know is that you're working. All right, FICO, that's all you know.
Watch this. I'm going to add something to that. Don't you get sometimes the people that are so annoyed because the process is slow and they feel like it's either never going to go anywhere? Now that documentation, you could show them, look where they started, and then let them watch the end video and the end results, and they'll be like, holy moly, it actually worked. So that's another good thing about showing those numbers that are not so cool, because you got to understand that you got to put in the work. These superstars, athletes, do you think that they play at that high level? Do you think that happened overnight? Hell no. And they got to still keep on working on it, right? So you could use that for those people that are just, they expect things to happen overnight, right? So I think that that's huge that you documented that, because if they have any doubt, you could show them, look at this, and you got various that started low and they just kept going up and up and up because they kept going. And that's the key. You got to keep on going, and you got to keep on testing things, because not everything's going to work for everybody. So everybody has different luck, to be honest, if you want to call it that. But at the end of the day, it's not really luck. It's you putting in the work and you doing that trial and error, right? Because I do it all the time. And you got to understand, every year things change, and you got to keep on learning new things, and you got to keep on adapting because the generation changes. I think Josh wanted to add something.
I was gonna ask. So yesterday we were talking about different sources of income. So like royalties, like per JR, like where we're talking about if it's all profit, would it make sense also to find more people to work for him, like he's doing half and half, but to find others I guess I'm trying to say, get more clients so he doesn't have to do it. But I guess is that part of like the royalty package type of thing too, like the income?
So more of that's profits because he's selling a service, right?
Okay, got it, okay.
But remember, one thing to take note: if you bring in people to JR or to Kaba, you should work out a deal with him in Kaba. Every person that I bring you on a trade line, he's already telling you 25% goes to you, whatever they pay. Okay.
Okay.
Once you start bringing in people and they see, dude, I paid Kaba 1,000, whatever, $800, 1,200 for the trade line, and my credit score went from 650 to 710. Now I can apply for a house within those 2 months, because usually trade lines, they only keep you on for 2-3 months, depending on the plan that you work out. Now that's something, it worked for someone else. So why can't it work for other people? People think like, okay, things not working, but they're not executing on it. Like just the different gems. And I know Kaba's consumed with so much information. He speaks with passion because you got to be obsessed with this. If you're not obsessed, I went to bed at 2:30 last night. Oh, you know, challenge going on. And just from a personal thing, I'm still stressed. Why? Because I want to make sure everyone in here is getting value. Out of the 15, 16 people in here, I want everyone to be content. Not everyone to be like, it's all right. You know what I mean? Like, I want you guys to be, remember, like I said, if I'm paying $1,000 and Kaba's giving me 70 points, you know how much credit increase I can get? Just think about that. I paid $1,000 to have access to $15,000. Ain't nobody doing that. Ain't no one paying for that because information changes people's situation. People don't know. Like right now, people are hitting up. They want to still join the challenge. We're on day 3. You didn't believe it on day 1, or people just, it takes them a while to execute. And I understand everyone's different papers. One shout out to one person in here. They don't have that much money. Everyone has a journey. Everyone has a struggle. You know what I mean? And if you gave money on this challenge, hey, you know what? It's the last couple bucks I have. That shows that you want it more than the next person. All this information in here, huge, huge gems. Speakers like that, like FICO, where would you connect with someone like him? Unless you go to an event. You know what I mean? This guy right here is going to be a next big level speaker. He doesn't want to just shake the room. He wants to shake the masses. And you can hear it in his voice. You got to want it. And maybe some of you guys are like, yeah, it just, it's kind of like part of the process, but I'm not seeing results. But how much work are you putting in? 2-3 hours, that's not going to cut it. You got to be obsessed. Go ahead, FICO, my bad, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that's not enough. I personally, and I'm not saying you guys got to do this, because I'm crazy about what I do. I love what I do. And there's weeks I work 80 to 100 hours a week. I work 7 days. But that's why I make the money I make. If I was to work only 30, 40 hours, I would never make the money that I make. Even that year that I did $250,000 in 7 months, I would work on Christmas, on New Year's. Somebody wanted to see a house. I don't care if it was a holiday. I don't care about that. I was showing houses even after midnight, which you're not supposed to, because there was so many foreclosures on the market and you had to be that aggressive. House came out, we had to see that. They were like, you really gonna show a house like this? I said, yeah. I remember, I think it was Christmas Day, right? And that night I showed a house at midnight. Crazy, right? But I did whatever it took. I had one client, he goes, if I ever buy a house, I'm buying it from you, FICO. Why? Because it didn't matter the holiday, it didn't matter if it rained, it didn't matter if it snowed. It didn't matter if it was 1 billion degrees. You were with your suit on, no matter the weather condition. And you never made an excuse for me. That guy, I helped him get a 2-family house. Then after he got the 2-family house, we ended up selling the house. So that's another deal. And then when he sold the house, I got him an apartment and he's still living in that apartment. I did 3 real estate transactions with that guy. He had like more than 10 agents helping him. He dropped everybody and stayed with me. And he also paid me extra. But because of my dedication. And he knew that he could trust me because he was making very important decisions every single time. And he did whatever I told him. If I told him to go over the asking, he went over the asking. And you really gotta know your stuff. Whatever it is that you guys are doing, you gotta be a product of the product. Somebody asks you a question, you gotta be ready to be able to answer it, right? And if you don't know the answer, instead of making it up, say, listen, I don't really know the answer to this, but based on X amount of years experience I have, this is what I think, but I'm also gonna reach out to my partners or top trusted professionals and get back to you. When you go back and say, hey, I spoke to such and such, such and such, and such and such, this is the information I got. That person really values and respects you because most people won't do that extra work. And guess what? Now you learn something so that the next person, if they ask you, you know the answer. And you should personally, if you really want to take your business to the next level, you should be writing down questions that people always ask. And you could even put together a frequently asked question. So then what you could do is, when the next person that wants to inquire about your service, say, by the way, I'm gonna give you this because a lot of people ask these questions. And if there's something that's not there that you still wanna know or you don't understand, let me know. And now you're doing something that nobody's doing. You see what I'm saying? Because you're covering so much, they're like, wow, this guy really knows his stuff. I wanna work with him. You're setting yourself apart from everybody else. You definitely, that's all bars and no cap, right? And every single time, look at that list once a year and see what you could do to edit it, right? Because you can always make it better. New things are gonna come out and you always have to implement, right? I'm always changing things too. So when I talk to somebody, like I haven't talked to in a while, I tell them, man, I'm a monster right now. If you thought I was monster back then, you don't even know what I have learned in the last 2 or 3 years. So one guy was on the phone with me, a good friend of mine, I fixed his credit, haven't spoke to him like in about 2 years. And he's like, holy cow. I was on the phone with him 3-way with Navy Federal. He's like, yo, you knew more than the rep. I said, I know, they gotta give me a job there. I got a book full of notes. I know their products in and out, right? So when I'm talking and I hear, I'll give you a common mistake. Navy Federal, max credit cards, 3. Navy Federal, total credit cards on the personal side, 80,000. Navy Federal max credit card is the flagship, goes to 80. All the others go to 5,000 except for the secure card that goes to, goes to 50,000, but the secure card that goes to 5,000, right? So some people think, okay, so since you could get 3 and the max is 50 on this one, 50 on this one, and 80 on this one, they'll add it up and they'll say it's 180 is the max. I said, no, it's not. It's a total of 80 among the 3. So you will have to split and juggle that limit between those 3. And some people don't know that. And they'll go out and give out the wrong information. So with Navy, since I know that I got to merge them between the 3, I decided to only have the flagship. So I'm a big timeshare guy. I own 3 timeshares. I use my Navy Federal flagship and I pay my timeshares. I get 3% cash back on my timeshare. So this year I paid 100 grand towards my timeshare. I get $3,000 cash back. Major, 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 major. Because you might be putting out on a card that's not either giving you or only giving you 1%. So another great card that you guys could get is the Alliant. The Alliant gives you 2.5% cash back on your first 10,000 every month. That's huge. 2.5% cash back, right? And I like the Citibank Double Cash, gives you 2%, but it gives you this 2% after you pay it. And I like that card because it's a tier 1 bank, right? And it's better than getting 1.5% or 1%. So you guys need to look at all these things. When you're signing up for cards, especially if they got annual fees, you got to make sure you're getting back more than what you're paying. So if you're going to get a travel card and you never travel, why are you getting it? Right? Because the purpose is so you can travel, let's say, twice a year. So now you got your luggage free, you already got your money back. I love the JetBlue one. It gives you 6 points per dollar spent on the card, right? And you get a free bag for you and up to 4 people that travel with you. So if you're smart and they don't have the card, say, hey, I'll book your flight. Now you got 6 points on their flight, plus you gave them the bag. And you're building your credit. Now, if you ever do that, make sure they give you the money first, right? Regarding points, oh man, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can log in and show you guys something. If you guys need to see receipts, but I just sold 3 airline tickets on JetBlue, right? You're not even supposed to do that, right? You're not supposed to sell your points. But anyways, I sold my points to help somebody out, give them a little discount. And basically I sold 100 and I think it was like, I don't know the exact number, I gotta check, right? But let's say 150,000 points. And I got paid $1,800. Those points are sitting there collecting dust. $1,800 I made off of those points that were sitting there. And I still got over 500,000 points left. I believe I got like 650 something points left with JetBlue, right? So I take advantage all the time. If I could pay something for somebody, man, give me the money. And when I go out clubbing and I know people are paying cash, I collect all the money, I put it on my card. So now I got cash back on that, right? And I'm building credit because I'm trying to show them that that limit they gave is not enough. So write this down. If you guys want to get your limits up 3 months in a row, you guys should be maxing out the cards. They're looking at your last 3 months. So you max it out or you max it out twice a month, and then you wait for those 3 months to cycle. Then you call the bank and ask for a credit line increase, right? And make sure when you go ask for it, you're keeping your ratios low. I don't care if you got to borrow the money for a couple of days, right? For let's say 30 days, just so it can show low. So your scores can jump and then you go for the credit line increase, and then you can put the debt right back on the card. Or better yet, move it to the business side. That's very, very important when you're trying to get these limits up, right? Especially also another thing that's important, why you want the utilizations low, is because if you keep the utilizations low, not only the scores go up, but the banks give you a better interest rate. So guess what happens when you get that new loan? You're gonna save money. And you might not think it's a lot, but if you took out a car loan and I saved you $100 with my strategies, you just saved $1,200. If you finance that car for, let's say, 6 years, you just saved yourself $7,200. How about a mortgage? I do it all the time. My clients on average, I save them $30,000 to $50,000. My best client, I saved them $80,000 on interest on their mortgage. It was well worth it for them to pay their credit repair. You know, people hire me for credit counseling, building out their profile, cleaning up the credit, and they're paying anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. But just on a car loan or a house purchase, they already got their money back, right? Not just that, when I'm getting them approved, they're getting sign-up bonuses. Like, for example, since most of you probably already got LLC since you guys are e-com, if you guys get the Chase Inc., they give you $750 back if you spend, I believe it's what, 7,500 that you gotta spend in like 90 days? So think about it. You got your money back on the LC that you bought just off of that one Chase card. And Chase got 3 business cards that between the 3, that's over $2,000 in cash in value, well over $2,000. You see what I'm saying? So this is so important to make sure that you guys are taking advantage of business credit, right? Because you could owe 100 grand on your e-com store, and on your personal credit shows you owe nothing, and your scores are not affected. And you could be using that for either hotels for free, travel for free, or cash back, right? But if you don't have that business LLC, you're not taking advantage of all these perks, right? And that's how the rich get richer. They take out loans and they leverage other people's money. All of them. All of them. You think these people are owners of all these big corporations? You think they pay for all that cash? Hell no. It's impossible. They leverage credit. So you guys got to make sure that both business credit and personal credit is on point. Let me ask you something. You guys want to see a little glimpse, right, of what an 850 score looks like. So I'll log in and you guys can see how I have my structure. What do you guys think about that? How can I share the screen? You gotta make me a host?
You're already the host, brother. It's your world.
All right, so let me see what I can do.
Hey, take a picture of this, guys, so that way, you know, sometimes when you speak on something, you want to keep your receipts, you know, because there's always people, haters are always going to call you out, or that didn't work, this didn't work, but they didn't work, you know? So make sure when he's logged in, blocking any, right now you're sharing the screen, just want to throw that out there already.
Yep, I know.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Don't want no, I don't want them claiming that they had an 850. Nah, we got some good group of people right here, man. Seriously. Who's hungry? Right? Put that one in the chat if you're hungry. And I mean, I'm hungry about this credit, not
you know,
not about Subway.
I was gonna say that you know, a lot of people claim things, and I like to show proof, live proof. I logged in, look at the date. So I don't just talk because a lot of people are laughing. I like to show proof. So look at the score, look at the date, just updated. January 14. Here's my name, Dobes. Now, watch this. Let's see, what is that? Look at my credit limit and look at my debt. Right here. 271,500, $545 is my balance. I'm at a 0%. Move it over.
Damn.
So like this card, you see, I'm at 0, right? Here's the limit, 28,000. Here's another one. Limit is, that's the one I told you that one of my lowest, 6,500. So unfortunately, because they're all Amex and they only let you go every 6 months, is, you know, it's a little bit of a process. So another thing is I should have been pushing them up sooner, right? But it's all right. I'll have them all over 10 10,000. Let me see, I have to wait 3 turns, so a year and a half. So this one's 8,000.
Hey, so I was on a phone call with FICO. Like I said, I talked to, my man's regularly on his,
34,000.
he was mad because
500.
his payment wasn't showing zero balance. That's discipline right there, guys.
This is 5,000. That's my, I gotta bring that up. That's my dad. See, that's why I don't like Capital One. This card was 10,000. I forgot about that. So now I got another one that I gotta work on. So I just submitted an increase for that. Here's another one, 31,000. That's that big one. This is the one, this is the heavy sauce, the one that I sell for the most. You look at the age, it says over 22 years. So it's gonna be 23 years in August 23rd. That's the one that helped the guy buy the house. This one's 14,900. I started with this one at 2,500. That was my second secure card. This is 30,000. That's the M Life card that I told you guys, the limits, FMBO. This is my Navy Federal. That's the flagship card I told you guys about. I'm gonna hit a year with that on the 27th of this month. That's in about a week. So here we're Sears 17,500. And this is the first card I started with. It's at 15,000. And I started with $300. So what I did is, because I knew they were gonna run my credit to do the upgrade from unsecured to secured to unsecured. So I did that. I started building my credit on all my accounts and I raised all my limits. And then I triggered back to US Bank once all my other limits were high. And then I said, hey, since I knew the magic number was 10,000, I said, well, you know me, I like having cushion. I said, can I ask for 15,000, right? And they gave it to me. I was only expecting 10. And literally, I'm the only person that I ever met that ever went from $300 to $15,000. And the more crazier part, I was only spending like $100, $200 on the card. And they still gave it to me just because my profile was so strong. So that's why I urge you guys to make sure that you guys are managing everything on point. That's my car that I was telling you guys about. I just extended it 3 months. So that's why the lease went from 36 to 39 months. And look at the payment, $1,195. So now I'm gonna show a paid auto loan in 2 months for $46,619. So now when I go for the next loan, I can easily get double, if not more, right? So I wanted to show you guys that. That was the first time I ever got a car loan. I never ever financed a loan in my life, right? When it came to cars. I never took out a student loan and I never took out a personal loan. I did have a mortgage, but it came off the report because closed accounts fall off technically, give or take, after 10 years. In my case, it was 12. So at the moment that I applied for the BMW, I didn't have nothing backing me up. When you guys go for a car, the first thing they look for is car experience. After that, they look for mortgage experience. I didn't have none. But the great thing is that I had 5-digit credit card numbers, right, in the limit size. So that helped me get into the BMW. And this was almost a $82,000 MSRP car, right? So the guy was even in shock. Look, again, I keep my inquiries low. I don't got no public records. Another little thing I can show you guys. I mean, and you guys could do this for yourself. Go to, do this on a laptop or desktop and click where it says FICO scores. So when you get here, you're gonna scroll down. It's gonna give you a rating. That rating is gonna tell you how you're doing. So if you have anything in red, that means that you have negative information that is holding you back. So you wanna work on making sure you take care of whatever it is. Sometimes things get taken care of in a couple of months. Sometimes it could take longer. It just depends on what it is. So if you look at the left, you should write that down because those are the goals. This is the look of an 850, right? That's what you should be aiming for. So write that down. No missed payments, keeping the debt reported on the credit card low, making sure you're actively using the credit cards and letting them age, right? The goal is to keep these credit cards open forever, especially if they're tier 1, 2, and 3. That's the key to getting to that 800 plus club. So did you guys all write it down before I move on?
Not yet, almost.
Okay.
And remember, guys, this is recorded for you guys only, and we're only going to keep it on for 1 week. After that, we're going to take it down. So make sure you write those gems. Like I said, psychology aspect. If I keep it on there forever, it's just going to sit there and collect us like FICO Father's points.
I'm actually on this on Experian right now doing that same exact stuff right here.
And then remember, guys, get your questions ready because FICO Father's dropping a lot of gems. Definitely have those impactful credit, repair questions, whatever you guys need. He's not going to hold back. I mean, seriously, this call's for you guys, and definitely his time is appreciated. Are you guys good?
All right, so now what we're gonna click on is this tab called Score Ingredients. So that's that chart that he was showing earlier.
Brandon's chart right there.
And for any of you guys have my
memorize that. If you memorize that, that shows. I always get confused, but I know it's 10, 10, 15, 30, and 35.
So what I'm gonna do is, if you guys, I broke it down where I tell you how many points each one is worth. So if you guys are following me, send me a message and say that you were on this Zoom, and I will send you that list of the information where I break it down. And I also send you, so you guys won't forget, that you should be focusing on installment loans and on credit cards. Those are the two best ways to build credit. And I'll send you some examples of those things, so you'll see them on there. So in this section, as you guys can see, I hit exceptional, and I got zeros all the way across on the negativity, right? Now, another thing you could do is you could hover your mouse, right, over the number, and it'll give you a little description of what a FICO high achiever does in this area. FICO high achiever, to earn that, you got to have an 800 to an 850 score, right? Now, what it's saying is that in this case, 98% of them never miss a payment at all. So that's why it's so important to not miss any late payment and miss any payments, right? In this case, they never had a 30-day late, right? Now on this one, it says that virtually no FICO high achiever has a 60-day late. That's how crucial these 60 days late are. And what happens is, one thing that people that have scores 800 plus have in common is that if there's an issue where they, whatever, messed up and they forgot about a bill, they attack it right away, right? And that's why virtually none of them have a 60-day late, because they're so anal about making sure that they're on point. And if there's an issue, they're taking care of it and knocking it out the box. Then over here, the same thing. It says that 98% of the time, everything's paid as agreed, right? Also, when they're doing this rating, they're not including authorized user accounts as well, which is very good, because now you get to really see the true colors of the person's file. So here, they're going to say the same thing for the collections and derogatories, which is judgment and bankruptcies, is that even if they do have one, is normally like less than $100. They don't really consider it. So if you see right, this says FICO 8 only considers collections with an amount of $100 or greater, and it says virtually that anybody that is a FICO high achiever, they don't even have a collection on the report, because these collections, even if they're paid, they drop your scores and make it very difficult for you to hit an 800. It's almost impossible to have it. So you want to make sure you don't have them, even if they're paid, you want them deleted. And like I said, this is like bankruptcies and judgments and things like that. I don't have any of that. It says the last time I was late, I never was late. And it says if I would have been late and my scores are in the 800s, it probably happened nearly 4 years ago. So that shows you can rebound. It's not forever, right? And late payments only stay on your report for up to 7 years. The only negative account that stays past 7 years is the bankruptcy chapter 7. Chapter 13 is 7 years, right? So eventually it's gonna come off anyway, but you gotta make sure that you don't put them right back on by messing up again with another account, right? So this covers that payment history. Now we're gonna go to amount of debt. So amount of debt, I'm doing exceptional also, right? Here it triggered me at 1%, right? And it says, remember what I told you earlier, look at the very bottom. For FICO high achievers, the average ratio is less than 7. That's 6 down to 0. I like to be ahead of the curve, so I say 0 to 5 or 5 to 0, whatever you want to call it, right? This one, it says that the people that do carry a debt, their total debt on credit cards, right, is $2,500 or less. They're not talking about loans here. So I want to make sure you guys don't get confused. This is just credit cards, right? As you can see, I still have my loan with 2 months left, which totals, well over $2,000, right? But it's still only here 545, which I showed you earlier was my credit card debt. So you want to make sure these credit card debts, you keep them very, very low, because people that tend to have, again, a score from 800 to 850 is because they try to stay in as little debt as possible. Here it says accounts with balances. So I have 3 accounts with balances, 2 are credit cards, 1 is the loan. You never want to have that. It looks like probably 0. And I want to say the only reason why 0 is because you always want to have at least 1 active loan on your report. If you have no loans, and I use myself as an example, when I didn't have the car, I was stuck at 820, 830. I could not get out of that. I think 831 was the highest. The minute I got that lease on that BMW, and that lease was paid off, and I forgot to tell you guys this, so write this down. Your goal, and this is just for personal loans and auto loans, your goal is to get that loan down, especially the personal loan, to like 40 to 60 or 50% of the original balance, because that's going to give you more credit and more credibility and more points on your credit score. So if you took out a loan and is at 100% debt, because you just put that new account on your report and you got a new inquiry most likely, and now you have a big ass debt where you're not, obviously you're 100% debt, that's dropping your scores. As you start paying that loan down, you're going to start getting those points back. So you want to make sure that you bring down that debt. And me personally, if let's say I needed $50,000, I'll get $100,000 in loans, and I'll immediately bring them down to half. So I still got the 50,000, but now when they look at my report, I paid off half of all my loans. And that's going to give me a boost on my credit. And I look so much better to lenders when I go to apply for something, and they're going to be like, wow, he took out this much and he already paid off half. So a lot of people don't know that. So please write that down, that whatever it is that you guys want in loans, get double. And then with that same money they gave you, go slam half of it on it. And now you have 50% debt to income ratio from the original amount. And that's going to give you a better boost, because like I said, you're showing them that you got money, right? You're responsible. Let me see, that's 30% area. Now we're going to go to length of credit. So one of the also key things that helped me here, my oldest account, which is a closed Macy's account, right? Now, in the next 2 years, that's going to come off. That's going to hurt me, because that's going to drop my average down like it did. And that's going to cost me anywhere from 30 to 50 points. But since I'm going to obviously add 2 more years and I'll be right back, give or take around the 7-year mark, I'm going to see where I'm at. So I didn't do that trial error yet, but I unfortunately, not because of my choice, it happened on TransUnion, where 4 of my 18-year-old cards came off. My score dropped down 50 points pretty much. I believe now it's down like 57, and the card came back on, because that's another thing that happened. My lease came off and I pushed them 3-month extension and got it back up, and my scores increased. Now the drop when the card closed was only 30 points on Experian, but because I didn't have those other 2H Macy's and 2H Victoria's Secret cards, my drop completely went down, plus a 4% usage on my credit cards. I went down to, I think it was 787. So that's another key thing. A lot of people want to get an 850 score, and they don't understand that you're not going to get it overnight, because you need this and you need this. And that's not going to come overnight, right? And every single time you add a new account, this is going to go down. So first you got to build your whole structure, and then you got to work on it for years. So something that's a little bit more realistic is saying, let me go for 700. Then when I'm in 700, let me go for 740 to 760. And then when you reach that milestone, let me go to 800. And then when you're there, let me go to 820, 830. And then when you're there, let's, if you really want to get 850, but it's honestly, I'll tell you this, I want you to write this down. 800 score and an 850 score is pretty much going to get you the same thing. So if you should have one big target, is to get past 800. And tier 1 credit, depending where you're applying, is considered at 740 to 760 on average. So the reason why I want you to hit 800 is because I want you to get that high FICO achiever, and I want you to have a cushion, so when you apply for something, you're still getting that best interest rate. So if you want to get the best interest rates for everything you apply, you got to push to get to 740, 760, right? So that's the great thing about credit. You don't have to have what I have to get the same rate as me, right? So that's huge to know. A lot of people don't have this information, and there's a big misconception out there. So I want to make sure you got the right information and you don't get thrown off, right? So that's where 15% of your credit. Now we're going to go to a amount of new credit. So here I got hit very good because I opened this account recently, which is the flagship. I heard they were giving the bag. I heard so many great things about Navy Federal. I know they're great for loans. So I said, you know what? Let me open the door and apply for them. I got a year with them. I'm not doing nothing. So last year I applied for them. So I got hit with that. So again, I hover over right on the top. It says that most FICO high achievers opened their most recent account 2 years and 7 months ago. So like I said, with these FICO high achievers, once they become established and they got the good amount of accounts, they're not going crazy applying for stuff. They're only getting stuff they really need, right? And that good cushion that you could say, you know what, I got a good amount of accounts that are active and rolling for me is 12 or more. That's where you want to be at. Obviously, the more the better, but once you get to that level, you're more than fine, right? Because personally, me, I think I don't even have that are mine personally. I believe I got like 10 accounts right now, right? And look where I'm at. So like I said, I'm the cushion guy. That's why I say 12, right? Because you never know, an account could close, a company could go out of business, and now all of that's out the window. So I always want to have extra, right? And the minimum to avoid a thin file, write this down, you should have no less than 5 credit cards at all times. That's the minimum, right? So I tell my students, I want you to have no less than 6 credit cards. So here, as you can see, I got no inquiries. And like it says there, look at the bottom part. It says 70% of FICO high achievers did not apply for credit in the past year because they're saving that so when they do really need to apply. Because the higher the number of inquiries are, the harder it is to get approved. There's banks that even if your credit is 800, just because you got so many inquiries, they'll say no, especially if it's a good bank. If it's a department store card, they don't care. They want you to shop. So they'll approve you with 10, 20, 15 inquiries, right? But a bank like Chase, and they see that, they're not having it. Also, write this down. If you're in the middle of getting accounts, make sure you get your Chase cards early because they got what's called the 524 rule. So what happens is if you already opened up 5 credit cards in the last 24 months and you try to go for Chase, they're gonna deny you. And you gotta wait until you have over 24 months without opening up a credit card before you can apply to them. So what I try to do is get my clients to apply for either card number 3, 4, or 5 as the Chase cards, and then continue with the rest. So the last thing that's here is credit mix. Unfortunately, if you hover over, no matter what I do and click, I'm not gonna get anything, which I wish I did because I wanted to kind of see what do they recommend, so they're not giving us any sauce there. And as you can see, I hit all 3 areas, right? So what did it for me here was the auto loan because I don't have a personal loan, I don't have a mortgage, and I don't have, what's the other one? Student loans. So that's another great thing, right? I beat the algorithm because I don't have the full mix. That's almost impossible to accomplish. With one auto loan, I was able to hit 850. That's rare. Like I'm speechless that I was able to accomplish that, right? And also, I'm just gonna go back a little bit over here to show you guys something else that I also hit 850 without accomplishing. It says that the average people with 800 and up have 9 or more years. And I hit it when I was at 6 years and change. Because I hit it last year. So I hit it just above 6 years. I outbeat the algorithm of what the common high worth people do. Even 800, and I hit 850, right? So why is this? This is 18 years, it's 25 is the average. So also that's another thing. I got into the high FICO Achiever Club, and not just 800, but 850, and I'm at 18 years, 7 months. And when I did it, it was 17 years and 7 months. So that shows when you go to make sure that you're hitting all these bullet points, you don't have to have all of them to have a great score, right? Because I don't even have all of them, and I hit the highest meter that it can go, right? The highest level that meter can go to. So I wanted to show that to you guys. That's another reason why I went on here, to show you that I don't even have the word exceptional, right? I don't have it there, right? Here I have it, right? I have it on that one, and I don't have it here. Right? I got very good there, and I think it was very good here. Let me see. And very good here, right? And okay, so I got it on 3 out of the 5, right? And I still hit their best score. Look, exceptional, and then payment history exceptional. So I show you guys this to say, like, if you follow everything I'm giving you guys, like, you're gonna have an amazing credit file, right? I gave you guys the recipe. You guys have access to this, but the thing is, we don't know how to read it because nobody has taught it to us, or we don't even know it's there. Right? So I covered everything. And I'm one of the very few people that you're ever gonna have that's gonna break it down the way I did. With actual proof, not just saying I think is this. I'm showing you receipts because I'm showing you what they're saying it should be. I'm showing you where I am at, and I'm showing you my actual score. And I'm showing you all my accounts, one by one.
Fire, bro, fire. Hey, FICO,
Yep.
you want to go into Q&A real quick?
Yep, definitely.
Please, man. Hey, real quick. Just raise your hand on the thing. If you can't raise your hand, just unmic yourself, and then I'll try to call out everyone so they can have equal time. I mean, have your questions ready, and definitely. So we'll go with Victor. Victor, you have a question, bro? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, man. I actually have 2 questions, if that's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, no problem.
All right. So I remember I was on a Zoom call last time with Econ Bulldog. He let me know that, like, if I have a family member who has a good credit, that I can leverage theirs to my own. Can you, like, describe to me the process of that?
That's like the trade lines that I'm selling where people are leveraging my credit. But write this down. When you're leveraging credit, unfortunately, you need to go look at that account to make sure, A, there's no late in the last 7 years, and B, they're not maxing out the card, because payment history is worth 35% of your score and utilization is worth 30% of your score. So if you're gonna add them and they're all over the place, then you're doing yourself more damage than good. So if they can't manage their stuff, then I'm adding them. And the worst thing is that you're calling them and you're maxing out this card and you want them to lower it, and they're like, F you, I'm doing you a favor. You're telling me to pay my bills? Don't tell me how to run my business, right? They're gonna feel violated. So it's a tricky thing, man. But if you can get one and you don't have to pay for it, man, take advantage, right? Because the other thing is that costs money, right? And you're paying anywhere from like $300 to $2,000 for a trade line, depending on the limit and how many years it's been open and what bank. The cheapest one is American Express. So if you're gonna add something, that's the one I wouldn't add unless you're paying for it and you're in a really tight budget, because that's the cheapest one. And the reason why, it doesn't carry over the age. So they could have that card open for 10 years. You're not gonna get a 10-year history on your report, unfortunately, because it starts from the day they add. And Amex is a tier 2 bank. But like I said, if you're really looking to push your age to the roof because you need it, you want to get a nice age account. And I would say that a really good age account that you can get some decent results will be like, I would say like 5 years is a good number. Now, I would still get other ones, like I said, they're lower. It just depends on your budget because, like I said, it does get pricey, right? And then on the list, I just want, let's say good, I'll say like 5,000, but I'm trying to push 10,000 plus, So that's what I would do, like 10,000 plus, and I was like, 7 years, 9 years. That's a nice trade line. You put that on there, you put in some sauce.
For sure. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Right.
And
go ahead. Go. Next question. Go ahead.
Question. Go ahead,
I got another question. So you were talking about like how you wouldn't recommend Capital One. Like, was that as well for like a personal credit card?
Yes. Now, if you have it, don't close it, right? And they might be the only ones that gives you the opportunity. So I like them because they're a tier 2 bank. So I still got to give them the same credit I will give Discover, American Express, Barclays, US Bank, Citizens Bank, PNC Bank, BNCT, SunTrust. What else is in there? I'm trying to see. I know I'm missing one more. PNC Bank, Citizens Bank. I think that's almost covered all of them. I gave you guys the list earlier. SunTrust is fire. So they team up with BTT. So look for that merge. It's gonna come out a name like something like I Trust, something like that. I'm not saying it correct, but I can definitely give that information to Ecom and give it to you guys. So they're working on that merge as we speak. So I would keep the card, but just don't get more of it. So one thing I do hate to see is that people keep on adding Capital One. Like, no, let them just open that door and that's it. No more Capital One, right? And if you don't have Capital One and you got all the other tier 2s and tier 3s and tier 1, no, don't go get Capital One. And don't go get store cards and those subprime banks. You don't need them. You're already, it's like you're up here, right? And then you're doing this, going backwards, right? So, like I said, if I can't get approved, right, I'm trying to get approved by all these banks and nobody's giving me a shot, then I'm going for Capital One, right? But if it's me and I got the money, I'd rather get a secure card with Discover and US Bank, TD Bank, before I go to Capital One. It's just because they're bringing down limits, they're closing accounts, and there is nothing that boils my blood than you work so hard to build this account and then they go close it on you, or they lower your limit. And then I got clients calling me complaining because the interest rates are high with Capital One and they don't want to lower it, right? So like Discover, I started with a high rate and I called them and they already have lowered my interest rate 3 times, right? But Capital One, they'll still keep you at 20-something%. So you guys got to think about that. Like they're not for the people, unfortunately. I don't know what it is, but in the last 2 or 3 years, they have done a 360. Before I started people with a $300 Capital One card and they ended up upgrading to a $10,000 card, $15,000 card. Those days is over. You're lucky if they go past 5,000 right now. So I share with you guys that because I want you guys to win and you don't want a card to hold you back, right? Because if you get the right card and it goes to 15, 20,000 and you go to somebody else, it's going to be that much easier to get another $15, $20,000 card. So I didn't share this earlier. I just want to drop this. When I was at 14,000 with Barclays, right? And I know I went a little bit overboard, but I'm crazy like that, right? So I said, I want 100,000. They said, excuse me? I said, yeah, I want 100,000. They said, I was on back and forth with them for like 2 or 3 hours. And at the end of the day, they said, we're going to match your highest card. See what I told you guys, they look at that, they gave me 30,000, right? And then I tried to say, can you at least give me 50? They were like, look, we tried everything we can, but it just doesn't make sense. You're not spending that much. I said, well, I spent with you guys over $50,000 last year. They said, yes, but are you spending $50,000 a month? No. We did the math together. They said, oh, you're spending like about a little over $4,000 a month, right? So it didn't make no sense, right? They're not gonna give me, a high limit at that moment, right? So I took the 30,000, then I went back, I asked for another credit limit increase. That I remember I was spending about an average a little over $10,000 a month. And I asked them for 50 this time. So this is the other little nugget that they threw. They said, we unfortunately can't give you 50, but we'll give you something. And they raised it to 34. So I got a $4,000 increase. So I'm like, wait. You guys just went from 14 to 30. That's 16,000. And now you only went up 4. And I'm spending even a little bit more now, right? They said, well, this is what's going on, right? And this is what we're gonna do for you. You're not spending enough. So we'll do this for you. We just gave you 34. Spend half of this limit 3 months in a row or more, right? And come back to us and we'll see what we could do to jump you to 50. So they threw the behind the scene underwriting information. You've got to spend more than half your limit to show them that the limit you have is not enough, right? And I'm gonna go back to why that's important. So when I never asked for another one because I haven't been spending that much with that card. Then I was bumping up the other one. So I was bumping up Discover. So from Discover, I started maxing it out even twice a month. So 3 times they said no. So then that's why I started maxing them out. So then when I started maxing them out, I went from 2,500 to 5,400 with Discover. Then I was doing the same thing, kept using it. Went from 5,400 to 10,900. Then when I was at 10,900, I wasn't really spending that much, but they still gave me an increase because I had a while before I asked again. So they went from 11,900 went to 14,900. So only $3,000 more, but I was happy, right? And then when I went again for another one, they stopped me. And they said, you're only using about 10%. So you obviously don't need more. I was only using about 1,000 and change. And I had a 14,900. So again, if I would have been using closer to half, right? Or more than half, I would have got the increase, right? So that's to show you that they look at these things, right? And when I went to, what was the other bank I also tried to get a credit limit increase with? I did American Express recently, and I was at 14,000. I asked for triple. They denied it. They even asked me for bank statements, which they're not supposed to because it was personal. They're supposed to ask for a tax return. I was actual bank statements. So I send them the bank statements from 3 different banks, right? I send them the ones that I was generating the most amount of money. So I send them, I think it was about like $60,000 worth of incoming money in the last 3 months. They still rejected me. And then I called them and I said, I want a reconsideration. They still rejected me. And I said, how long can I apply again? They said 3 days from the last time you applied. I said, oh, it's been 2 weeks. So let's apply. So I applied. I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna ask for double. Let me not get greedy. Now, why I asked for double? Guess what? Last year, I had the same situation. I was at 4,200 with my Delta American Express. I took that from 1,400 to 4,200. So when I was at 4,200, I wanted to go to 12,006 because I wanted to go way past the 10,000 mark. They said no. And the extra tax, no, they didn't say no, they wanted tax returns. I didn't want to give it to them because it wouldn't match what I said I was making, because then they could lower my limit. So a lot of people don't know this. They'll lower all your cards. So don't give them your tax returns if they don't match. So I just gave you guys a major gem right there. So what I did is I went back and applied again, but this time I asked for only 8,000 increase from 4,200 and I got it and didn't ask for no docs. So when I went to the Marriott, I said, well, I noticed that I went from 42 to 8, which is just slightly less than double. So let me try double on the dot, right? Plus I'm asking for a lot more money. So then I said, okay, 14 times 2 is 28. I asked for 28. In less than 60 seconds, I got approved and didn't even ask for additional docs. So the key to here is don't give up, keep going. I didn't let that discourage me. And I thank that I kept on trying multiple times because I got rejected the first time when I went from 42 to 8. So since I knew about that loophole, I said, wait. I remember I had that problem before. So I used that old scenario through trial and error and I applied it and I got $14,000 more. And for me, that was huge, man. And you're not gonna learn that. You can't Google that. That's my own experience. So that's huge what I share with you guys, right? Because this is my journey. That's how I got to these limits. You see what I'm saying? I worked for those limits, right? I make sure I was spending on these cards, right? I make sure that I'm not late. I make sure I kept the balances low. I make sure that if I had inquiries and they're not attached to an open account or they were because of a hard inquiry, I took them off. So I could position my profile like the way they want it. So you got to make sure you write this down. Control what they see so I can get what I want. Control what they see so I can control what I want. Now, my favorite, and write this down, keep your denial letters because your denial letters are your risk factors that they're placed on you as a caution to not proceed with you. So when those denial letters come, they'll tell you either too many inquiries, not enough average age of history, not enough accounts, your delinquencies, late, all of that stuff that's there, you need to fix that. So before you go ahead and go apply again, you need to correct those things, right? Because if you don't correct them, you're gonna still be bumping into that same problem. And even if you get approved, what do you think? You're not gonna get the best rate. You're not gonna get the highest amount, but go ahead and correct all those things. Plus everything I just gave you guys, man, ain't nobody fucking with you. Because you got the sauce that they don't know you got it. They don't want to tell you. You can go to the bank. They're not going to tell you none of this stuff. You don't know how hard I fought to gain all this information. I had no choice but to learn it because when I go speak to them, they didn't even know it there. I'm like, how the hell are you going to recommend something without even knowing? And I don't blame them because they don't want to recommend something and then you go back and then you throw it in their face. Oh, I applied. You told me I could apply and I didn't get approved. They don't know your profile. They don't know how to read it. You could tell them you have a great score, but that's not everything. So that's very, very important to know all those things. So I'm gonna go. I just want to make sure I didn't leave that out because, like he said, don't leave nothing behind. And I had to make sure you guys know that because that's so crucial when you guys are going for funding, right? So with that said, we're gonna go on to, I think is Raul's next.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all the gems that you've been throwing at us. Loving it. So I'm looking at my social profile as you were going through the experience. And I have one negative, which is a bad payment history. I missed a late payment that's about 2 years old. It's a 30-day late payment, but the account is closed now. is it possible to remove that late payment from a closed account? And is it even worth it to remove it off this one account? Everything else is pretty much clean, except for that one thing.
Since age of history is important, I want to first know what is the age of history, and I also want to know what bank is it.
Great question. So it is the age of history overall.
When was it opened? When was it?
Oh, I'm sorry. So
of that account.
This account, I gotta go hunting for it real quick. It's right here. This one was back in 2014.
And what's your average age right now?
So I mean, it closed out. I actually closed out recently.
Let me share something with you guys. You guys don't know this. Your average age of account, they do an average and they still consider the closed accounts. A lot of people don't know that. Now, when you do on Credit Karma, they're not showing you the closed ones. But when the FICO algorithm is doing it, they're still counting. You didn't see when it showed my oldest account? It's 18 years. I don't have that account, but they're still considering, right? And also on the average age of all your accounts, that's being considered too. So the reason I was asking you, because if your average age of account is very low right now, I wouldn't want to get rid of it, because if it was only one late, and write this down, the most important thing that they look at is your last 24 months. So if you don't have no lates in your last 24 months, banks want to be in business with you. So it's not as bad. You pretty much rebounded very well. And if it's only a 30-day late, I would only fix removing the late. I would not delete the account. Now, if the account is a trash tier 4 subprime bank, eventually I want to get rid of that account because I don't want it there. Now, if you don't do it, it's going to come off anyway, and it'll come off 10 years from the day it closed. So regardless of the point, it's going to come off anyway. But if it's a good, I'm going to try to let it ride, and I'll remove the late.
So it is, but it's still possible to remove the late. If it's a good bank, I could remove the late off the closed account.
Yes. If it's credit one, getting rid of that. I don't want that trash on me. And if I'm planning to get more accounts because I don't have enough, then this is the time to do it before you get rid of the account.
Gotcha. Yeah, right now I'm at 10 or 9 are mine. I got one that's authorized.
And how many are tier 1?
Ooh, I gotta go through that.
You have a couple from those big banks.
I have, I have Chase. I have Chase, which is my oldest, which is about 10 years now. And I have Citibank. I have the double cash, and I have.
So you don't have Bank of America and Wells Fargo?
I used to have Bank of America many years ago. I don't have Bank of America, nor do I have Wells Fargo.
Yes, you want to add those. It's a good relationship to have because they give the bag. In the business side with Bank of America, you can get 4 auto loans. So definitely build that relationship with Bank of America. That's huge. That's huge.
What steps would I need to take in order to remove the late off the account? Is that something you can provide?
Yes, I can also provide, and I also will do this out of courtesy. I'm gonna give you guys. Let me just log into my notes and give you the law.
Hey guys, make sure that you guys are posting, right? This guy's FICO Father is giving some gems. Hopefully every question is valuable. Definitely getting that one-on-one time is key. We're already like at 6:24. I want to get through everyone's question. That way, we cover everyone. Everyone's got a question. Everyone, I don't care if you're at a 500, 400. Everyone's got a story. So, make sure that you're asking a vital question. All right, guys? And if you're not following him already, I know what you're sleeping on. Yeah, so when real quick, just to speak on that 4 auto loan play, that's a heavy play. That's a mastermind play. Okay, so Bank of America will give you a loan, 4 loans, I don't know if it's under one inquiry, but that's heavy sauce right there, guys. And I think all you need is over a 680 to 700. But FICO doesn't play, so he wants you to get the maximized card limit. If you're at a 670, he probably says, yeah, you can probably get a card 2,000, 3,000, but he wants you to get the $7,000, $8,000 card, or at the minimum. That's where he's at. He doesn't want to set you up for failure.
Okay, so this is the law that you could look into. So with that law, because it's illegal for them to put late payments. Now, don't be discouraged because it don't work the first time out. Another thing is, you could reach out. You can go on Google and look up the bank and then put CEO and then get their, and then you email them and then you can look them up also on LinkedIn. So when you reach out to them, you can get it done that way. Please, like people are always doing this. If you have like, let's say, I would say, if you ever take like more than 2 lates, definitely more than 3 lates, or you never paid this account, don't go ask for no forgiveness or what's that goodwill thing? That shit ain't not gonna work. Don't ask for that when your file's that bad. You're wasting your time. A goodwill will be like his case, right? He messed up 30-day late. He got back on track. He paid them their money. He don't owe them anything.
Yep.
And especially if you have the account open, they could probably do something for you. But you go in there with like 10, 20 lates, or you still owe them the money. Do you really you think that they're gonna delete that? It just makes no sense. You can pay them.
Yeah,
So
I did call
that.
them. Yeah, I did call them to see if to try the goodwill and try to convince them to remove the late
Big
payment.
banks like Chase and then Bank of America, they'll tell you all that we can't do that. We write the books. So you have a hard time with the bigger banks, just so you know. So I like this I gave you because it's not a goodwill. You're using the law to get it removed.
This bank is called Commenti Bank, COMENITY. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tier 4. I don't care about that. I'll get rid of it. That's fine.
Get rid of the account or get rid of the late payment?
I'll get rid of the account after I add that Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or if you want to add any of the heavy hitter accounts or even tier 2s. So after let's say you're going to go on a big run, because for me, I'm going on a big run, right? And I'm going to try to add like 5 or 6, 10 different accounts, both in loans and credit cards, right? But key thing, major gem right now I'm dropping, major. Do that big run on the business side first. Get the bag on the business side. Like the heavy bag until they keep on denying you. And then go do it on the personal side. And now you got 2 huge bags, 6 figures, guaranteed. And then you can go ahead and close it. You don't need it because now you're just building your credit and you're making money off of this money for years to come. That's how I would personally do it. Because remember, when you start adding stuff, your average age is going to go down and you're going to take out debt on it. So it's going to go down as well. So that's why you want to go heavy on the business side because you don't even need it on the personal side. And what you could do is, since you got both bags, you could take some of the money on the business side and you could drop the debt on the personal, right? And now you still got that big bag, but you're leveraging it out between both. And now you're making your personal credit even stronger because now you're managing bigger amount of money. So when you want to get bigger loans and you go again for the next one on the business side, they're still going to look at your personal. So when they see you're managing the bag on the personal and you're managing your bag on the business, they're like, man, this guy's the guy we want. That's why I want you to run it on both.
All right, brother Raul, you good?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. All
right, man.
No other questions for you, buddy?
No, I'm good. That was perfect.
Next one, JR in the mix. Where's JR? You left? Okay.
Hey.
Oh, there you are right there. Go ahead.
So I do have a Capital One cashback to 2% card, business card. All
Just
of my
showing up
other
on your
business,
personal credit report.
yeah, all my other business cards, huh?
You could keep it, just don't carry a debt on it.
Okay. All my other business cards, they've increased the limit by themselves. This is the only one that's stuck at 10,000 when I know I can get at least 100,000.
They're assholes.
They're assholes. And you can't call a rep on the phone. You have to do everything online, they say. Good luck
calling. They're gonna redirect you to do it on the app online.
Yeah, I don't like that. keep this one open? You said don't even try to close it?
I mean, it's gonna boost your utilization, so I'll just use it for that. I'll just spend $50, $100 on it, like little money, nothing crazy.
Okay.
It's still doing something for you because the limit is good. It's 10,000. So you can use the other $10,000 cards, and God forbid if you did have to put debt, at least you won't be, maxed out on all your cards because you still got that card that's not maxed out. So you could leverage it for that. So I always say you could still do something good with it, and it's a tier 2 bank. So I wouldn't close it.
All right. And inquiries, I have 6. How would I go about getting at least 2 removed to be back on average?
You got to make sure that they're not attached to open account, because if they're attached to an open account, then you got to wait.
Okay.
If they were because of a hard increase, credit line increase, or they were because you got a business credit card, then you can attack it. Because when you go speak to the bureaus, they're gonna say that it's not attached. So you can call them and say, hey, I didn't authorize this hard inquiry. So they're gonna look at the date of the inquiry, and then they're just gonna look to see if there's an account that matches it. And you gotta make sure the fraud department. So whenever you speak to them, no matter if that person's trying to help you, say, no, I want to speak to the fraud department.
I want to speak to the fraud department.
Because the fraud department is the only one that can take it off. So a lot of people don't know that. So what happens is you speak to this person, they make it seem like they're gonna help you, and they're gonna hit you with the bullshit.
And even with like that Capital One card, it's on there. That's considered a hard one. I could call about that one or leave it alone since it's an open one.
They're gonna find it because it's on your personal credit report.
Oh yeah,
don't do that. Exactly. So now if it was because you did a credit line increase, even if the credit line increase was yesterday, 2 months ago, or a year ago, you could do it. But like I told you again, when you look at your credit, your hard increase, you should look at every single account. And if that account, right, because it has the name on it, you're gonna go look at accounts and look at each one by that name. So if you see an increase that says Credit One, I don't like Credit One, Capital One, go look at all your accounts and then see what are all my accounts that say the word Capital One. And I'm looking at personal loans, auto loans, credit cards, and then I'm looking to see if there's any date around the time of that inquiry. And another thing you can use to your advantage, if the hard inquiry is 30 days after the account got opened, you can get it removed. So the inquiry was like 2 months, and after the account was open, like the difference of the date, you could get it removed. Because what it is, they basically give a little leeway, whereas within 30 days. You could try a on them, and if it's 3 weeks apart, say that it's not, but I wouldn't mess with that. You could maybe cause yourself to get the account closed.
Yeah.
Give you guys a major gem. If you apply for the card, even if you get approved and you do it within the same week, the account is not on your report. You can get it off. Because when they go look for it, there's nothing to see, because they're not gonna find it. But you gotta do it the same week that you apply, so that when they're looking for it, it's not there because the account didn't hit. So that's major sauce. People pay for that.
Like, a last question I got for you, man. The clients that I have right now and the clients I intend to grow with and get, is there any way I could work with you to help get them not only personal funding, but as well as business funding?
Yeah.
Definitely. I got you.
All right, man. Hey, JR, good questions, bro. Way to write it down. And then we got Silos, and then we got Carlos after. So we got 2 Carloses up. So Silos first. He's a real estate agent also from MIA 305.
What up? Hey, look, I'm looking at my experience as well, and I've noticed that I have Credit Karma. Credit Karma says I'm
Now, listen, let me share something real quick. Credit Karma on the TransUnion side, it doesn't show you more than 5-year history. So if you have any issues between 5 years and 1 month and 7 years, you're not even gonna know. So it's bad for your clients, right? And also it's a Vantage score, and you need to go off your FICO score. So if you're gonna get a free version, you got the experience. Now, I do use and recommend, especially if all of you guys, let me see if I can find the link and I can send it to you guys. And the reason I recommend this, even though it's Vantage, is because it gives you all the things that you should be doing and not doing. And you know what? I didn't mention this earlier, and that's one of my favorite reasons why I mentioned Identity IQ Scorecaster. Write this down. You should never, ever, never, ever go over 5 months without using a credit card. Because when you do that, it's a 3-point drop per credit card on the Vantage scoring model.
You said
right?
use.
You're going towards the point where they're going to shut down your account. Once you go 10 months to about 18 months without use, majority of these banks are closing down your accounts. So you got to make sure you're always using them. I don't care if you're only spending $1. So I'll give you a little more gems you can throw there. So let's say you have a car. What I do is, for example, right? Let's say I'm getting gas, right? I grab my stack of cards and I pump gas with this card, and then I put it in the back of the pile. So the next time I go get gas is the next one online that I haven't used, and then I put it in the back after done. And that gives me 4 touches a month on my credit cards, regardless if my tank is empty or not. Let's say, for example, I decide to pick Friday. Every Friday, I'm filling up my tank. If it's 3/4 or it's half a tank or it's empty, I'm filling it up, right? That's one. Now you might say, hey, Delvin, I don't have a car. So then you go to CVS and you go to the self-checkout and you grab any 4 or 5 items. Paper toilet, Bounty, toothpaste, toothbrush, chocolate, water. I don't care. There's no excuses. Bag of potato chips, piece of gum, and you swipe 1 item, 1 credit card. And you do that the first of the month so that you will never forget. Oh, the new month started. I got to go to CVS or any store that has a self-checkout where you could buy things that are only $1, right? Because you got to make use, right? Now, watch this. Why that's so important. Imagine you have 10 credit cards, right? And you're doing that between the gas station and the CVS. Or you could do all of them at the CVS. And you have your stuff on auto pay. You just added 10 positive payments on your credit report.
Mm.
And in 1 year, you added 120. In 10 years, that's 1,200 on-time payments. When they go look at your credit report, man, they love you because you're always showing that you borrow and you pay back. See, it's not always about how much you spend. How much you spend is basically going to help with the credit limit. But when it comes to payment history, it's you borrowing and you paying back on time and you having activity. So you want to make sure that you're on point. I apologize that I didn't bring that up, but it just came to mind now. It's just, I got so much information. It's hard to cramp it up in less than 2 hours. I've been doing this for so long. But that right there is major sauce, right? To make sure that you're showing these banks that you're responsible. You'll be surprised how far that $5 that you're charging, $10 you're charging every month goes. Because that's what they want to see, that you're responsible and you're getting things done. So I'm giving you ways you could you use your stuff. Now, me personally, apart from those strategies, like I have different things that I invest in, and then I put different things on auto pay to use it. So I use the insurance for one, cable for one, cell phone for one, and then I just rotate a whole bunch of different things. I got real estate stuff that I pay for, credit stuff I pay for, and I just rotate them on different ones because I want to make sure I hit that touch. If you get my point.
I do, yeah.
I do split pays too, just to add that. When I go somewhere, I'll say, can you put half on this card and half on that? So I do things like that as well. Go ahead.
So I just opened up an experience account as well. So I did the same thing that you went over. I noticed that on one of my cards back in 2020, I have 2 late payments. And I opened this card back in 2014. And it's a Bank of America. What do you recommend? Should I try to remove those late payments? Because I mean, on Experian it says I'm 761 is my credit score. On Credit Karma it says I'm 791.
Definitely anything that's negative, I'm trying to remove, no matter how long it takes, because I know that if I remove it, my file's gonna be stronger, it's gonna be cleaner. So I'm always trying to make my file better and better and better.
So it won't affect my account even though it's open because I still use that card. It's a travel.
No, that's not gonna affect the account. I'm just trying to get you guys a link to this. I'm gonna keep on talking, which is like, you know, I'm logging into something. So no, that's not gonna affect your account because you're not getting rid of the account. You're just trying to change the history on it. And like I said, if it's only 1 or 2 dates, you have a better chance. But these bigger banks, like the tier ones, they, I gave you guys the law. Google that law and put that into your letter so that they can remove the late and never, ever admit you were late, even if you weren't. You put the burden on truth on them that they got to prove that you were actually late.
Well, yeah, that was during COVID actually. So
I wish you would have called them, because if it happened after March, just because of the COVID rule, you could have got that off. Now, that doesn't mean you can't still try it, but then, if the law doesn't work, I would use that COVID, because at the end of the day, you can't get it off 100%.
and then I called them themselves, the fraud department.
No, I said, no, that has nothing to do with calling the fraud department. I would mail them a letter, and I'll put that law, and I'll say I wasn't late, and you want them to investigate.
Okay. And then remove the late payments. Okay.
Exactly. Let me give you guys a link. This is what I use when I coach people. And then this tells you, and I'm going to show you guys, because I want you guys just to see the value real quick. And also another thing is I want to share that I also forgot to add is that also when you're looking at your credit reports, that's why what I gave you is so valuable. It lines up all your accounts. So if you see from left to right that it doesn't show all three, that means you're missing an account on your credit report. So a lot of people don't know this, especially when you have a lot of accounts. Now, you might call them and they might tell you that they don't report to all three. But if they do, you want to make sure that if you're missing an account, you want them to put it, because you're losing that credibility. So let me see if I can log into I use this client because he's recently messed up. Oh no, you don't even have the scorecard on it. So
Real quick question. Do you recommend Score Sense as another monitoring tool?
My favorite is my FICO and Identity IQ. Identity IQ because of that scorecast that they got. It's just so fire. It's crazy. Okay.
Did you say my FICO?
Yeah, my FICO.
Another question. Do you recommend getting an Amex card under your personal or under your LLC?
I will be both. But if you're gonna get the business, don't do sole prop. So write that down. Don't get no business cards under the sole prop.
Why not?
Because you're gonna get treated as a person and they can go after you personally. And you're not building business credit as well. Business credit, keep it on the business credit side. Give me a second. I'm looking at the nice lot.
On sole proprietorship, right?
Yeah, don't get that. If you're gonna get a business credit card, you want to get your LLC, and it should be either S Corp, C Corp, and my favorite for the best funding amount is the LLC, just pure LLC. So if you are because you want to structure your business a certain way, and you want to get a LLC tax as a C Corp, as an S Corp, I'm sorry, I will get the LLC separate, and I'll specifically use it for funding. I remember I picked, unfortunately. I ended up not picking one with a negative, but at least I can show you guys. You guys see this? Or not?
We just see
Your screen froze.
Just the website.
Yeah.
Experience.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. Yeah.
There we go.
So this person, right? This is the scorecaster, right? Like I said, I didn't get what I really wanted to show you guys, just because it's not gonna show negatives, because this person's doing a really good job, but they still reached out to me because they wanted my expertise to make sure they could capitalize. So I was still able to give them some sauce, right? So you see how they give you, those are the risk factors right here. On Equifax, they never will give you. And then the good thing about here, at least do a little plus sign. So you click on the plus, and then you can get a little more of a detail on that, but you still need the human to read it, because like about 85 of it is on point, and then you still need that other 50%. That's where I come in. So like this person got red flag, even though they got great scores, it says here, your largest credit limit on open bank or revolving accounts is too low. So they need to bring up their limits. So it's giving them homework. Then here is telling them that the balances on their cards are too high. They got to bring down the debt, right? Then here it says they got too many inquiries. And then it says their loans are too high. So they got to pay them down. So you guys giving them homework to do. And this is somebody with amazing scores anybody would want to have. There are advantage scores, but it's still great scores, right? So then over here, when I look at this, I'm like, why do they have so many closed accounts? So I'm looking at, are they getting closed because they're paying them off, or because they're being careless? So I'm looking at all these things when I'm doing my studies, and I'm looking to see how many they got open. So that's really good. They got 13 accounts open. I'm looking at their debts. So, you know, I still haven't looked at the report, right? So I want to know if it's because of a mortgage or what it is, right? So obviously 4 inquiries got, and 3 inquiries still got labeled high. I said, you want to be like either 0, 1, or 2. So you got to bring that down. So here, if you had negative, it will be here. What it says, none, right? And here, there could be judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and things like that, if they even appear, right? And this is negative accounts, anything that you've been late. Sometimes there might be a collection there, which you shouldn't go there. And then here's collections. So this would tell you if you got something wrong with your file in the last 7 years. Because a lot of people think that they don't got nothing wrong. When I give them that link and they buy that report and they go into it, they're like, oh, I didn't know this is messing me up. So you got to make sure you run that play and run that report, because that report is going to give you homework to do. And I always tell people, go through all the risk factors, go through the homeworks, because I'm going to show you where that's at, and see how much you improve. Has your scores gone up because you started taking care of these issues? So you got to make sure you're working on those red flags. You got to make sure you're working on the negatives, and you got to make sure you take action, because there's going to be action steps, right? So here's the positive accounts, right? So if she would have had an account that was high utilization, there would have been a red box, but none of those are red boxes, except for this one. Look what it says, high utilization. So if it ever says that, it's because she's using over 29%. Let's see if I'm right. If your balance and your credit limit comes in red, that means you're over 29%. She's at 36.5, rounding it up, 37%, red flag. So to see how this does the work for you, I didn't even have to look at her file. And I knew just because of that red box right there. That red box. And I know before it was actually a percentage in red. I don't know why they changed it. Now it's showing up like this. Actually, I want to call them and see what's going on. But you see, just because of that, I knew there was something wrong with that account. Now these say like -1, it could be, you know, a little debt on there, or you know, I'm gonna read later, I'll probably say to pay it down, because again, you don't want to have the debt that high. That's $2,500. It's too high, right? Let me see if we got another negative. Here's -3. You see the month on that? That's the last time they used it. We're talking about April. We're in January. You got over 5 months, they don't use it. So when we look at the recommendations, it's saying, hey, you need to use this card, right? So this is another mistake that she was doing that she didn't even know. Barclays, again, great limit, but that needs to come down, right? And that's it, right? So now let's go to recommendations, and these things are gonna come up. And here's some more risk factors, right? The first four are the same from earlier, and these are additional four. Sometimes they could be positive. So it's like saying that the account, your oldest account is not too recent. That means you got some time age in it, which is good. You want, past that 2 years to 2 years, 7 months from the time that you opened it. This says that either you have few or no installment accounts with delinquencies. Your credit cards are not maxed out, right? And you don't have a lot of derogatories. You don't have any. So that's why I tell you, you need a human, right? Because it says it's either this or this. And here it says it's either this or this, right? So that's why I come in and I know what it is. So here's some recommendations. What did I tell you? Look what it says. Why? Because that balance is too high. Even though the percentage is under 29%, but that's still too much debt. So it's telling them to pay it down. Again, pay it down, right? That's the one that was red flag. This one, look what it says right there. You're not using it. You gotta make sure you're using your cards, right? This one, again, pay it down because the balance is too high. And then long term, and I didn't look if she has a mortgage. So normally here it comes in and tell you to get a mortgage or get a loan and things like that. Let's say you don't have a car loan, they're gonna tell you to get that. So look, missing installment, that's what she needs to get a car loan. I mean, well, missing the auto here, and this one is for personal loan. The mortgage didn't come up because she got a mortgage. That's why she had that big balance that you guys saw for $100,000, right? And then last, we're gonna go to simulations. These are the action steps. This is good for people with balances on their cards, right? So I always click here, and I hit here, and I hit 9999. I just put the max, regardless if you have it or you don't want to pay it, even if you have it. So then this is going to tell you that this is what you minimum need to do. Obviously, we don't want you to pay everything off, but this is your minimum goal. So these are the action steps that she needs to take, right? They either use the card to pay them down. So here, they told her, use the card, right? And payment. This will help you 3 points. This one, they're telling her to pay this much towards that card, right? Help you 2 points. Pay this much towards this card, help you a point, and pay this much towards this card. But I always want to pay, like I said, as close as possible to paying it all off or stay between that 0, to 5%. So basically, I showed you guys that you guys invested this, you guys know what you're getting into, but that's like getting a mini me. And then every month you refresh your report and say, hey, let me see where I was before. Let me see where I'm at. Am I going on the right track? Now, when people hire me, I do a custom blueprint and I go through every single thing that I see wrong. I'm looking at who you apply with. I'm looking what terms you for. I'm looking if you're closing things too early. I'm looking at everything. Like I'm looking for problems. Like I'm an underwriter, right? I want to know what you're doing wrong. That's why my blueprint console mentorship is so worth it, And currently I have a promo. I charge $1,500 for that, all right? And I guide your hand throughout the whole thing, right? But sometimes people say I don't got $1,500. So I said, you know what? I'll do a one-on-one for an hour to 2 hours if needed, and I'll charge you only $500. And I'm giving you everything. All you gotta do is write it down and follow it. That's all you gotta do. Now, if you want ongoing, then you pay the $1,500, so it's an additional $1,000, and you got me for the whole year. You can pick my brain and ask whatever you want, right? Now, if you want unlimited, I'm working on something new because a lot of people ask the same questions, right? So I'm making an unlimited group, right, where we're gonna meet every month. And that's $2,500 and no monthly fees. So basically, I'm your go-to reference person for the rest of your life. You can't beat that. Because once I get 100 people in that group, the price is going up to 10,000. Because that's my time. And bring it up, I'm gonna be hiring special speakers. So I expect you guys to tell me who is of good value, because with the money that you guys have paid and the new people, I'm gonna use it to bring the big rock stars, and I could do that because if I charge 10 grand to go in there, I could go ahead and pay 10 grand for a speaker to come in, and I'll have something recorded where I'm gonna put in a platform where you can go ahead and play it back. That's where I'm going with it, but I gotta build the community first, so that's why I don't mind doing it for $2,500. And really, what I'm doing is for $2,000 because they're getting that one-on-one blueprint with me for $500. So I'm basically giving them unlimited access to me for $2,000, and you're gonna get access to speakers. So I mean, that's a steal. And I'm doing that only for the first 100 people. So I still haven't started that, but That's one of my big things for 2022, because I want to see how can I build a community. And also what I want to do is in that community, when we have those coaching calls, I want to share with you all the results like I just did, right? With that person, I'll just add a little bit more on that person that got the Home Depot. That same day, I had them call BJ's, and it wasn't that much of an increase, but it still went up from 1,500 to 2,700. And then I also had them call Best Buy, and Best Buy was under the water because they were at 54% usage. So with the increase he got from 4,000 to 8,400, his utilization went down to 25%. So now he's not red flagged on the account. So in one day, I got him $20,500. And we're not done because he also did 2 more increases on 2 other cards, and I'm waiting for the result. So for him, that $500 he paid me was a no-brainer. Got to work on deleting some stuff off his report, and I'm helping him get a mortgage, which is going to save him at least a good $20,000 to $30,000. So it's like, you just win with me, right? Plus, when you get new cards and you hit the cashback bonuses and the free flights, I mean, my goal is whatever you invest in me, I got to get you 10x the amount. So if you invest 500, I got to make you 5. If that's 10, I got to make you 100. And you're going to make the 100, because if you invested 2,500, right, you staying with me, right? And everything I'm going to share with you guys, right? Because when I go on that call and I went to a conference, I'm going to say, yo, these are the big things I pulled from this conference. And I'll share it with you guys. Why? Because it's not costing me anything. I already paid for it, right? Those are the kind of things that I'm doing. So by working together, right? You know, these events, maybe we can even meet up and go to, right? You might be like, yo, Kava, I'm going to this event. This event is fire. And I'm like, I'm in there. I love education. So I'm in here for the long term. So the day I can't walk is the day I won't go to conferences. For me, I'm investing in conferences every year. I'm dropping the bag because I want to keep on winning. I want to make sure that I don't fall off the court, right? Because you got to understand, when you're up here, everybody wants your spot. And if you stop working as hard as you did to get there, this is what's going to happen. And that's why I always stay up here. And I tell you that for yourself, regardless if you guys invest with me, but just for yourself, make sure that you're always giving your 100%. And let me see, so we can make sure we get to everybody. Who else? You have another question, or you're good?
You good?
I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, hey, real quick. I know we got a couple people. Who else needs a question? I know Carlos, the next Carlos. Eric, do you have a question lined up?
And we haven't heard from Palma, Victor in the bottom. Well, I don't know if Victor went.
Victor went. And then Brandon. Let's go with Carlos. Carlos been waiting patiently too.
Yep, go with Carlos. What's going on, Carlos?
Me or the other Carlos?
You, bro.
Oh, good. So that law that you shared with us, that where you could get your late payment removed, would that only work on your personal card, or would that also, could you also apply the same law for a business, like a late business payment?
Good luck, man, on the business side. Holy, hard to get you removed. So another animal there. It can be done. It can be done too. But removing negative stuff on the business side, man, if you ever have to pick, make sure you don't mess up on your business, because wow, they're tough. They're really, really tough. I'm being honest with you. So the good thing is that every year that passes by, that lateness is not messing you up. So I don't know what age you're in. If you haven't caught up, I urge you to catch up, even if you have to borrow the money. And I'm gonna throw another major gem for you guys. I don't want to see any excuses for you guys being late when you have money on credit cards, because you could pull them off. I don't care if you have to do a cash advance. If you got something due tomorrow and you don't got the money, go to the damn ATM and pull that money out and go put that money in your bank account and go send that payment. Or if there's an account where you can actually go to the bank, then go directly to that bank and hand them that money. And that same bank that you're handing them the money, you can pull the money off of there. And it's gonna cost you something, but that's okay. Now you go call all your companies and see who has a 0% balance transfer. Or if your score is still strong, go apply for a credit card with 0% where they'll give you the card on the spot. And now you do a balance transfer from that cash advance, and you only got to hit that cash advance that day, right? Or maybe a couple of days while that money transfer is over. You see what I'm saying? Or better yet, find somebody that got to pay for something today, or they can give you the money today and you can charge it on your card. Now you got the money, go put it in the bank, go send that payment. Or go to that bank directly and make that payment. right? So there's no excuses. Because if I got $10,000 on my credit card and I just send a $50 payment, like, are you kidding me? When my clients do that, I rip them apart because they didn't look at every single possible avenue to make sure they're not late. If you guys got Navy Federal, they'll literally take the money and put it in your bank account within seconds. They let you pull up to 30% of whatever the limit. And the great thing, and they're one of the only ones that do it, they will only charge you 2% of whatever your APR is. So they won't hit you with a 30% cash advance fee, right? On the interest. They won't hit you with a 5% cash advance apart from the interest that you got to pay. So that's huge. There's no excuses to not make your payment. And you got to understand, just look at it this way. I come to you and I want to borrow money from you, and you look at my report and I can't even afford a $50 payment. Why would you give me $5 grand, 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand? Why would you want to give me an auto loan or a mortgage if I can't even make my payments right now? You're like, wait, this guy's already in trouble. He obviously can't afford more debt. So you got to make sure that you do everything you can to avoid being late. Actual credit line increases if your cards are maxed out. I don't care if they're going to pull your credit. Open up that slot. Now you got money to go pull debt on it so you're not late. And then you figure it out later on. I'm doing that because I want to see you guys win. A late payment could drop you 50 points. A late payment could be the reason you don't get approved for the next thing you want. That late payment could be the reason you don't get those credit line increases, especially if they're going to run your credit. That could be the reason they start lowering your credit limits. So that's why I'm so passionate about that, because nobody else is going to give you that information. So as you guys ask questions, I really go in because I start thinking about all these other things that is just impossible for me to cover in one day. But you guys ask questions, boom, things are going to trigger. Because I do this all day, every day, 7, 10, 20 hours. I've done 48 hours straight. I won't do that again. I even got sick, but that's because I'm passionate about this. That's why when you guys ask me something, I can give you these answers because I do this every day. I do this more than I do real estate because I love credit. I got so into wanting to know about it that I fell in love with it. I put this over the girls, right? Because this is gonna pay my bills. This is what's making me money. This is how I travel for free. This is how I stay in resorts for free, right? Girls come and go. It's just an unfortunate thing, right? Until I can find somebody that cares about me more than about money, then that's a different story. Now that's your wife. That's the mother of your kids. You see what I'm saying? So with that said, Carlos, is there anything else that you have a question for?
Yeah, so right now I have like 5 cards of those duty cards that you said, like Merrick Bank and Indigo, and I have like a Best Buy card, and a Macy's card, and a JCPenney's card.
Mm-hmm.
So I am looking to get a car loan within the next 6 months. Would I keep them on, and then remove them after I get the car loan?
Well, you need to replace them. You got a lot of weak cards there, and you need to start getting tier 1 and tier 2s ASAP if you don't have. So that's my, because I have my next question.
Okay, and I have 5 more cards. There's 5 of those 5 cards so I have 5 more cards on top of those, and they're tier 1 and tier 2.
That's good.
So
I would raise my limits on all my cards and get a few more before I close them. I'll go on a little funding run, and that obviously you're gonna take a hit. So while I'm taking the hit, that's the time that I'm gonna go close those accounts as long as they're paid in full. Because I don't want you to close them with a debt on it. I want you to close them and you're done with it and you don't have to worry, because what happens is a lot of times people close those accounts, they forget about them, and then they start being late. So I don't want no late, right? And you don't want to be reporting that you're over the limit, right? A lot of times that happens too, right? You're over the limit, your utilization because now that card is showing that debt, but the limit doesn't count anymore because you closed it. So I'm getting rid of it for those 2 reasons, not to mess up my utilization ratios and to make sure that I mess up on forgetting I have to pay that card off. And make sure that you're not trying to do any major purchases in the next 6 months. So once you got it, then you can proceed to close after you pay them off. That's how I would personally do it.
Okay, got it.
And a reason, real quick, because I want you guys to not let this go over your head. You got to understand those cards, and I'll use you as an example if you don't mind. They would never go $10, $15, $20, $30,000. So most of them are like a few $100s or just like $1,000, $2,000. And I'll let you explain to me yourself. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not gonna say 100%, but I would say 99%, none of them over 10 grand. I don't even think none of them over 5 grand. But Let me hear. What is the limits on those cards right now?
Oh yeah, you're correct. None of them are over $5,000. I think the closest one's like 2.
And so you're as strong as your weakest link. I want them to look at me and be like, this guy's solid across the board. This, if everything I have said didn't make sense, this will make sense right now. You were investing $1 million. This is all the money that you have been saving all your life. And you're looking at somebody that's running projects. That guy is running nothing but heavy hitter projects with high profit margins. And the other person is dealing with bullshit stuff. Who you trust with your $1 million? The heavy hitter or the guy that deals with bullshit?
Yeah, the heavy hitter.
You're as strong as your weakest link. So you need to detach yourself from those weak links eventually. You got to look at it this way. Do you want to have training wheels on your bicycle forever? Do you want to have a pacifier in your mouth forever? Do you want to be always holding onto somebody and you never learn how to walk on your own? It gets to the point where you got to graduate from that. If that was just a way to get you in for whatever reason, okay, that's great. But you need to graduate. You can't stay in pre-kindergarten forever. And that's the difference later on in life when you start doing like the big moves. So if everything else I said was not enough, that right there is gonna make sense because I'm sure you don't want to be grabbing your mom's hand walking down the street right now. You don't want to have a pacifier in your mouth, you know, walking down the street or talking to your friends, right? So that right there, you'll be like, you know, you're right. You got to take it to the next level. And that's what I'm missing because that's what's going to really take me up to where, you know, get the things I want. And maybe that could be what's holding you back. So we want to change that.
All right. Thank you so much. Those are both my questions.
Great question.
No
all right, next one we got David.
That was definitely a good question.
We got David and then Joshua after, and then Sean Lee. All right, so David, go ahead with your question, bro.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, perfect. So I just have a quick question. So like when I was 18, like 4 years ago, I started off with like a secure Discover card.
Oh, I love that card.
And so like, but I completely messed up, you know, I was 18, didn't know about credit. Well, I kind of knew because someone told me to get it, but like, I didn't take it serious. I let the Discover card kind of charge off. And then like 2 years, no, like 2 years later, I got the what is it, the Capital One secure card. And then that let me get into Chase. And then those are the only.
Now let me ask you a question real quick. When you got Capital One, how many months after did you apply for Chase? About 6 months?
Honestly, like a year later. I think
that's 6 years to about, 6 months to about a year. You want to make sure you do that. A lot of people make the mistake and they wait too long. When they apply 2-3 years later, I'm like, what are you waiting for? Pull that trigger.
Yeah, like a year later.
That's a good range because people recommend different things, 6 months, 9 months, a year. So you're good. That's actually, you know, not bad time. Go ahead, keep on going.
Okay, my question was like, I tried to do like the pre-approval thing for Discover, like I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and I got a letter in the mail saying like, oh, due to like past history with us, like we can't take you right now, and it's because I have that account. Like
you gotta do is pay it. Once you pay it, you can reapply.
Oh, okay, and then they'll let me like back in.
Yep.
Okay.
The clients already.
And then I have one more question for you. My brother right now, he's 18, just turned 18, and I made him get like that Discover, the one that I had, and I basically told him like, don't mess up with it. He's had it for like 6 months, going on to 7. What would be like the next best step for him? Like, what would be the next best? Like,
you can apply for any of those tier 2 banks, and if it's me, I'm going for tier 1.
Tier 1, like, would you say like Chase is good?
And if he's a student, he'll get the Chase student card easy. But you know, I would try the Freedom if it's me, because the Freedom is better.
Yeah, that's the one I have right now. So that's what I'm telling him to get. I think they'll give him, because they gave me 1,500, and I only had like a 300 limit on the card. So he has 5. So you think they'll give him like something around?
Another thing he could do, he could add more money to his Discover card, right? Because he's already to the point where they're gonna graduate him, and 2,500. So if you put 2,500, they'll give you 2,500. So then when he has that high limit like that, and then he applies, he's even gonna get a higher limit with Chase.
Okay, you think that he should wait till he graduates with Discover then?
No, you don't have to wait till he graduates. But what I'm saying is he can add money to it, so now he looks stronger when he goes to Chase.
Oh, when he goes to Chase. Okay, for sure.
Exactly. And you can always use that's there, right? A lot of people, I tell them, look, if you have bills that you pay, instead of paying the bills, right? take that money, put it on the credit card, and then pay the bills with it, with the same money. Because already, and at the time that you're gonna apply for something, just make sure you keep it under 29%, preferably under 9%, or my favorite, 0 to 5 or between 0 and 9. The lower, the better. But you gotta put more money into that. That 500 is too low. That's way too low. And I know he's young, but go get a side hustle, take that money, invest it into that card, because it's gonna make it that much easier for all the other limits to be higher when he applies. So if it's me, I'll be working 7 days a week.
Okay.
Working the weekdays, only on the weekends, work, save, put money. Every single time I get money, put it in there, and get out of 500. Because when he goes apply, now he has a better chance of getting that or more.
Okay, perfect. And when you say like add more money, he can like call and be like kind of like a security deposit type thing. I want to add more from my checkings account to the card.
Exactly.
Okay, for sure. Perfect. Okay, yeah, I'll let him know.
I'll give you this real quick. I had that card, right? I put 2,500 and 300 on the US bank, right? Wish I would have put the 5,000 on, put 300. So it is once I had exactly 13 months, and keep in mind, I had a charge off with Bank of America still.
Okay.
For American Express, and I got $10,000.
Oh, damn.
So if I would have only left it at $300 or $500, there was American Express was gonna give me 10,000. So with that said, he could do the pre-approval with American Express, and I could even send you my referral link, or if anybody else wants it, right? And with American Express, if you're lined up properly, you can get in the door with them. And I can tell you one thing for sure. Once you got discovered in American Express, you're getting chased.
Okay, for sure. Okay, so with that Discover card right now, he can get into Amex, you think, into American Express?
That's how I do it all the time. And a lot of times, what I do is I start with Capital One, and then within 6 months, I get them Discover and American Express the same day.
Oh, damn. Okay, for sure.
That's my power move. So now I'm not too happy with Capital One, so I'm trying to do credit unions. And then from credit unions, jump to Discover, American Express, and then boom, go to Chase because the 524. And once I got Chase, then I'm trying to get Citibank and Bank of America and stuff like that, because I want to have those tier 1 cards as early as possible and let them age. And I don't care about inquiries, so I'll even try earlier. And the worst that can happen is they say, no, I'm taking it off anyways. So it's like it never happened. And then I go back to plan B. But I'm always trying to get that tier 1 as soon as I can. And if you can add strong AU, the thing is, I'm doing tests. That's my goal, to do some tests, especially with the young or people that don't have no credit, is start early at 3-4 months with AUs and see if I get into the tier 1.
Yeah, I'll definitely have him.
You guys not, because I'm going to start implementing that.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely have him reach out to you too, so you can help him build out like that tier 1, especially since he's like so young. He already has a Discover, and see like where it takes him.
No problem. And he could use the thing in case he's not managing right, but it's more for like somebody that got a lot of accounts. You really get better use of that identity IQ. But he's missing stuff. It's like, hey, you're missing this, or you got to bring the balance. And that's what I noticed with a lot of people, either new to credit or not. They always mess up on the reporting, so they need to bring those balances down. They got to make sure you guys know when they close. So just call them and say, hey, I want to know when my cycle starts. I want to know when my cycle ends. So when the cycle is about to end, you want to make sure you're not using it. So I didn't mention this, so I don't want to leave it out. Be careful, because sometimes, let's say your cycle ends on the 25, and you do something on the 21 or the 22, it might post right before it closes, and now you don't even have time to make the payment and bring it down, and it causes your utilization to just fly up. So I try not to use my card that last week of that cycle. I'll just use another card. And make sure if you put something on auto pay, this is a big one. Put the auto pay to hit in the beginning of the new cycle, not towards the end, because then you got to rush to pay it off. But if you put it in the beginning, you got 3 weeks to pay it down. So all your auto payments on all your bills should be at the beginning of the cycle of that credit card. And if you can also call the credit card company to move the date that is going to report. So that way you make sure that you get a report before the bill hits.
Okay.
So basically by doing that, your new cycle started. A few days later, the charge goes on. And now you got the other 3 weeks to pay it down.
Okay, and one more question, if you don't mind, but this one.
Yeah, sure.
So like, what would you say would be like the next move for me? Like, because I have, like I said, I have the Capital One in the Chase. Like, what would you say would be like a next good one? Like
with Capital One, and you got Chase?
Yeah, that's
any
all I
one
have.
of the tier 1s. I'm getting them ASAP. Bank of America, Citibank, Wells Fargo. I want all of them. I want one of each minimum.
Okay.
I'm getting multiple on the Chase side. I like the Chase Sapphire fire. That's 10 grand when you get in there. And then when you go everywhere else, you're gonna get that 10 grand because you gotta get that 10 grand. That 10 grand is the magic. Oh, I gotta add this. When you guys open your business bank accounts, the goal is to get the tier 1 business bank accounts. But before you do that, only do it, write this down. If you're gonna deposit $10,000 or more, and you're gonna make sure you leave the $10,000 in your business bank account for 91 days. If you're not gonna be able to do that, right? You can't do that. Then you open up a tier 2 business bank account or tier 3 business bank account, like Key Bank, TD Bank, Credit Union. You know, those are the ones that you will open if you're gonna open a business account. And you cannot start with 10 grand and you can't maintain 10 grand for 91 days or more. And the reason I say that is they label your account and they label it by what you started with. It's gonna have a tier ranking, and the tier ranking is like this long. I don't know how many numbers and tiers, but let's say it's about maybe like 15 to 16 different versions. And you wanna make sure you hit a little bit over the middle, and that's gonna be the $10,000 mark. So a lot of people don't share that. So if you guys are gonna open up your accounts, make sure you open up in that way. And then as your business gets better and now you're making money, now you go get that heavy hitter bank account on the business side with Chase, which is my favorite. And then, you know, you got the other 3 options, but Chase is by far my favorite. And that's what I'll be getting. That'll be my partner.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What's the perk?
Anybody else? I want to make sure I didn't leave nobody behind. Or if anybody got an additional question that they didn't think of, I go and I want to make sure everybody's satisfied.
I got another one to kind of go on back what you just said. The tier 1 bank leaving 10K in the bank account. What would be the benefit of that with Chase or Capital One or Bank of America? More money?
More money, more funding whenever you want to get products from them.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Big money. You can't, listen, another thing I'm going to add, even though I said it's only for 91 days, you can't go to the bank and you got $10 in the bank account and you're telling them I want $100,000. Your business makes no money. So that's another thing. Write that down. Don't keep the funds low and make sure I don't have no overdraft, because then when I want to get the real bag, they're going to turn me down. And then I'll throw another one in there. You might say, man, I don't got this money to be bringing in money and moving money and deposits. You get 2 bank accounts and you juggle back and forth 3,000 from each one. Now it looks like money's coming in when it's not. It's the same money. They don't know. So there's no reason for your account to be dry where you got no deposits. Split the money up into 2 accounts and move them back and forth. And be smart. Don't go, let me take out 3,000. Let me put 3,000. Let me take out 3,000. Let me put 3,000. No, change the numbers up. Not be exactly the same amount. Play with them, they play with us. We gotta outsmart them. Right? You could even, watch this. Watch this. You got no money, but you got great credit. MS the card, or do a balance transfer. And when you got that money into your personal account, now start juggling between the bank accounts. Now they think that you got money, but you took that money off the credit card. And now go apply. And they saw this trigger of money moving around the last few months. Like, yo, there's just so much sauce out there, man. I'm forever be learning, man. Like that right there I gave you, I just showed you how to get the bag with no money, just because you got good credit. Anybody?
Real quick, Sean Lee, real quick. I know he's been waiting. Sean Lee, can you ask your question, brother?
Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Father. I have a quick question about the refund. So if I have a refund going back to the credit card and my credit card has a negative balance, should I request that to put that to my bank account or just leave it on the credit card?
Okay, so you have an account, which is a credit card that has a negative balance. And I just want to make sure I'm not making a mistake. When you say the word refi, are you talking about refinancing your mortgage?
I'm sorry, refund.
Okay, you're getting a refund?
Yes, back to the credit card.
Okay, and what is that account, negative or is positive?
It just shows like a minus, but that's more money, right? Or
that if it's a minus in the sense you already got issue of credit, because you had another refund on there. By you putting another refund now, you're just gonna add more credit to it. So what I would do is I'll just use that card for all your expenses, so you could use up the credit, because you don't want to go ahead and raise the utilization on another card when you have credits available. So wherever you put it, just make sure you go use it before you use any other card. Because if you use any other card and you leave the balance on there, you're gonna raise the utilization. Why would you do that when you have negativity? I would use up the credit. So that's what I would do. I mean, I hope that answers your question. If not,
Yeah, I
I
think-
need you to ask what you're still confused about, because like I said, if I have negative on an account because I have a credit, I'm using that ASAP.
So real quick,
okay.
Sean, I want to make sure this credit card that you have right now, do you use it or do you not use it because it's closed?
Oh, it's open.
Okay, it's open. There's just a negative balance because you owe. Are you making your payments on time?
No, they owe him.
Yes, they owe me.
Okay, they owe you.
You get a refund, Ecom. Usually you return the merchandise and they put the money back on your card, but you already have paid it off in full. That's what happened with him.
Oh, okay. I'm just hearing negative when I
So
see.
now he has to use it.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
That's it. It's simple. He just has to use it.
Oh, okay.
Any
Listen, if you don't know what to use it on and you want to get access to the cash, you could tell them to send you a check. That bank could cut you a check and then you could deposit it. A lot of people don't know that. And
Thank you.
in the point where, oh my God, I haven't used this card for a while and I don't know what to do, send them a payment. That's going to create activity. And then you can ask them for a check and they'll refund you back. A lot of people don't know that. And the way you do that is not through their portal. You got to log into your checking account, and then there's a section where you have your bills. And then you say, hey, I want to send this account a payment. And that's how you get an overage. And now you cause activity and you're causing a movement on the card. So you might be overseas on a vacation, you don't got nothing to spend, or that card has a foreign transaction fee and you don't want to spend it on that. Another quick thing you could do, call your cell phone company. Hey, I want to make a partial payment, and then give them that card. So there's no excuses. You could do so many different things to make sure you get that use, or pay somebody's bill. So you could do a lot. You got a good problem. I think everybody here wished they had a credit that they wanted to spend that money on.
Nice.
You got any other questions?
Is it one more quick question? Is it
Sure,
better,
go ahead, man.
Is it better to get a higher credit limit or a new credit card?
I would get the higher credit limit first and then get the new credit card, so that when they're looking at that new credit card application, they're also judging it based on the higher credit limit, and make sure the higher credit limit posts your 3 credit reports, and then you do the apply for the credit card. So anybody here that's thinking of applying for a new account, regardless if it's a loan or a credit card, you should be raising all your limits first and letting that hit your report and removing any inquiries, and then you go apply. So that you get a better chance to get approved. Your credit utilization is going to go down. By having higher limits, they're going to give you a better limit on the application that you're going to be applying. So that's the way to do it. Now, if you do fast, you don't want to wait, then you can go ahead and apply, right? But if you want to get more money and you can wait for it to post with the higher limits, then I would do that. Or you might call and you might not get no limits increase, right? Because you're managing correct. But at least you tried and you gave it your 100% to make sure that you made the application as strong as possible.
As long as you're doing
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Getting you more momentum.
Elvis,
Yes.
real quick, your recommendation on a good travel credit card.
Well, I use the Barclays a lot because I fly a lot with JetBlue. And the reason why I like the Barclays is because it gives me 6 points on the dollar, right? On my flights. Plus, if you make a TrueBlue account, you get points too. And if you book online, not over the phone, you get additional points as well, right? And then if you spend $50,000 on the JetBlue Barclays card, they push you to Mosaic. So when you get pushed to Mosaic, every time you book a flight with JetBlue, you get another 3 points. You get 2 free bags, plus you get to go over 20 pounds on each bag. And anybody that flies with you, they also get 2 free bags and they get to go over an additional 20 pounds per bag, up to 10 people. And when you book their flights, because for them to get those perks, you got to book the flight for them, you're getting all those points on all those flights from them, and you get drinks. And then if they have space, you get upgraded to first class, which is not like a big first class, but you get that extra leg room in the front. And it's cool because what I do when I sit there, regardless if I'm not with nobody, I look to the person to my left and to my right. I say, hey, you want a drink? It's on me, but I'm not paying for it. So they're like, no, I don't want you spending money. I was like, no, it's free. I get that perk because I spend a lot of money with JetBlue. So why let it go to waste? I like to give back to people. And then I build relationships and I try to network and see if that could lead to a deal. And it has in the past. So I'm always like doing these extra things, man.
You're saying the JetBlue credit card is a good one to have?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Okay.
A lot of people recommend the Amex Platinum too. But you know, that's if you're gonna travel. And the great thing about that, you eat for free in the lounges and you get free drinks. So you can go early to the lounge and you could easily run up a tab of $50 or $100 and go free, complimentary. And it gives you a lot of that card is expensive. But right now, like the annual fee is $695, but they give you a $400 credit for Dell every year. So every 6 months you get 200. So regardless if you don't need anything from Dell, man, I'm using it. It's free. So right there, you get 400 back of your $695. Plus you get the lounges. Plus you get like credits with Adobe, and you get credits with, I think it's Indeed. I'm trying to remember the other credit. They got something else. You get credits for Uber. You get $15 credit with Uber every month. And in December.
Again, this is what American Express, right?
American Express Platinum. It's a little pricey, that card, but you could use that as your travel card. And a lot of people also get the business one because they give you 5X on your travel. You book through their portal.
Okay.
So, you know, and then, you know, you can refer people in and you get paid. That's another thing I didn't cover. You guys don't know, like you get kickbacks for referring somebody. So like Discover, they give you $50 and the person only has to do one purchase. And in Discover, you don't get that if you don't get a referral. So if you go directly by yourself to go for Discover, you don't get nothing. But if I refer you, all of you guys get $50 each. And all you got to do is spend $1.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, right? With Chase, a lot of their cards up to a max in both, and Discover as well. $500 is the max you can receive a year. You refer somebody to Chase, they give you $100 for each person that gets approved. So that's another little money that you guys can be making. Now, most of these people are getting approved because they got scores over 700. So if you're under 700, it's a little bit harder to get in. But just, you know, I make a couple of $1,000s a year just off of that. That's free money. Go wrong.
Yeah,
And if I have
conflicted
cards, you got different options for people.
I'm kind of conflicted on which cards to get because I travel. We go overseas, my wife and I. So we.
What airline do you use the most?
Emirates and Qatar.
So look at the rewards, but if they're not big rewards, then I'd rather just get the platinum and I'll put those rights on the platinum. That platinum is
And I go back home to New York, so I mean we go back and forth. So
that's the card I'm going for next. To be honest with you, I don't got it yet. I got the Delta on Sky Miles. I got the platinum one, which is $250 a year. And then the good thing about that one, it gives me a free companion pass every year if I go domestic.
I was going to ask you about that too. Yeah, the Delta one.
That's not bad. Yeah, if a free bag. So let's say, for example, I'm traveling to, let's say, Las Vegas, and my flight is $100. The max I get charged on second person is $75. So now I got a $500 flight from $75. I mean, that's pretty. That's pretty good.
I said I have 3 different cards. The Amex, Delta, JetBlue. I want to make sure I get a good travel rewards card for travel.
Yeah, but I would only get the Delta if I'm going to fly to Delta. It's pointless to get it if you're not going to use Delta.
All right.
And Delta goes a lot internationally, even more than JetBlue. So that's the advantage Delta got. But when you use it to get your money worth on your flights to buy, JetBlue gives you more than Delta.
All right. Cool.
And then if you use the Amex, they give you 5X, and you get the lounges. So at the end of the day, I'm getting that lounge card. I mean that lounge card. You gotta go for yourself. This is unbelievable.
All right. Thank you for your time, bro. Appreciate that.
All right, brother. Anna, if you have a question, please ask it. I know you got some vital information. FICO father is Anna, ladies first. Actually, she should have gone first. My bad.
Okay. Yes, I do. What is the difference between collection and charge off?
I heard, what's the difference between collection and, I don't know if you meant
charge
past
off.
due? Charge off? Well, what happens is, it depends what you're talking about, but if you're talking about a credit card, what happens is it starts with a 30-day late, and then it goes to 60, 90, and 120 days, and it can go to charge off anytime from there, or it can go to 180 days and then go to charge off, right? So what happens is once it goes to charge off, depending on the bank, some of them keep the debt in-house. So if they keep it in-house, it won't be sold to a collection company, but they do have an internal collection department that will try to collect on it, right? So when you let it go to charge off, most likely it's gonna turn into a collection. And it'll either be an internal collection or they'll hire another company. So at the end of the day, both are bad and you gotta get rid of it. But obviously if they sell it to another company, the bad thing about it is now you got an extra negative account on your credit report. But because they sold the debt, then it's, for me, I would say it's much easier to get that account off your report because they no longer have the debt. And if it's definitely been a few years since that happened, even better to get it off because they're gonna hassle less with you because they already sold the debt. It's like they don't even care about it no more. And now, obviously, if it's a tier 1 bank, they're gonna be more difficult compared to like if it was a department store and they sold it. But man, if it's a department store and they sold that debt, that's like the green light, man, right there. And even if they sold it to a collection company, that's easy to get off. Collections and when it's a third-party collector that bought the debt, then that's not who you did the original contract with. And hard inquiries are the easiest things to get off your report.
And there's any letter that I need to send, or how do I do it?
Well, they got to prove that the debt is yours. You got to prove that account is yours. So you basically going after them and having them investigate that account belongs to you. They got to prove that it's yours. If they can't prove it's yours, then it comes off. And a lot of times, that's why the longer that goes by and they put those files to the side and they don't have the documentation, guess what? They got 30 days to respond. Sometimes they give them an extra 15 days, 45. I've seen the most, absolute most 60 days. And if they don't respond in that time period, it gets deleted off the credit report. And the only thing I want to add, I don't want to forget, is if you want to get that relationship back with them, and it's been only a couple of years, like what he mentioned with Discover, you're going to have to pay them if you want to get the relationship back, especially big banks that are, tier 1, tier 2. And then I just want to add this, because I didn't tell you guys this. If you have a credit union, do not settle with them. Do not pay a third-party collection, even if you pay them in full, right? A third-party collection, or you settle with the credit union, you're still costing them money. So they put a special red flag and you're banned for life, and you can never ever get an account with that credit union. So if you mess up with a credit union, let's say like Navy Federal, you need to pay them directly. If they're not accepting the money directly, then I'm not paying them. They're referring me to somebody else. No, I want to be able to make sure I get my relationship back. So I have to pay you guys directly. And that's the only way I'm paying them. And if they tell me you got to pay this person, I want something in writing that says, if I pay this person, they're going to give me the relationship back. If they can't give it to me in writing, then I'm not doing it. I just go to another bank. I'm not throwing away my money and not being able to get the end result. So that's something you guys should write down, because a lot of people, they forget this information. That's very important to know who you should pay and how much. So when it comes to credit unions, don't play games. And they tend to give you the best rates. So the little relationship, I say. Go ahead, Pamela.
Anna, any other questions? Brandon's going to be the last one with the question. Well, go ahead, Anna.
Do you have like an example of the letter that I need to send, or how do I do it?
What account is it?
I think it was a Old Navy, and
oh my God, that's
it was not a major bank.
That's good. That's a good problem. We can take that off real quick.
Okay.
So definitely reach out. You got my Instagram there. You could DM me and just say that you were.
All right, last question. Hey, Brandon, definitely, he's got a little story too, but go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, what's up, FICO Father? I think I talked to you in the past, but so I started off really strong when I was younger. I had a Chase, US Bank, Discover. I had 10,000 limits on them. I think I was only 24 at the time with an 800 credit score. I was killing the game, but eventually I just was stupid. I got debt way over my head. I think 50K worth of debt. I think I had a total of like 60,000 worth of credit cards, and I spent about 40,000 just being stupid, spending money I didn't have. So 2 years ago, 3 years today, in October will be 3 years, I filed for bankruptcy. There's no way I could have, at the time I was working minimum wage, there's no way I could have paid that back. So all my accounts are new, The highest one I have right now is 4,000 with Capital One. I have the credit one. I know you talk about it's garbage. That was the only one that pretty much pre-approved me. Then I just got approved for a prepaid card with Navy Fed. So going forward, I know I just checked my experience. It's all on good standing. But how do I move forward as far as like, can I build relations back and get my like my Chase and my US Bank and my Discover back? How does that go about bankruptcies?
I would apply and then this is a rejection letter to see if they hold you back because of that. You gotta put in the application. And also the longer that's been since that happened,
Yours. Oh, yeah.
How long?
Trying to have anything to say.
So I don't know how many years it's been for him. So the older it is, the better, especially if it's over 7 years. That's a really good thing.
10 years.
Try anyway, and you're muted, by the way.
Sorry, it's just the echo.
I also want to add, it's not a prepaid card. You got a secure card. So
I got a secure card. Federal. My oldest account is 10 years. So prior to, I was just showing econ. Prior to that, if you look at my experience, all my payment history is exceptional. Leading up to the bankruptcy, I never ever missed a payment. All my things are in good standing. They're also exceptional. I just did the, the 30, 30, 10, 15. They're all good. Just my accounts are just not seasoned no more.
When did the bankruptcy was filed and discharged? I mean,
Chapter 7, it was discharged in like October 2019.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt you for a while. So it's good if you take that off.
Is it possible to remove a bankruptcy?
Yes, it's possible to remove it. That doesn't mean you never went through it, but we take it off the report. These banks don't see it no more. And then once that's removed, it's easy to remove any accounts and say we're included in a bankruptcy. Because like what bankruptcy? The bankruptcy's not there no more. So that's something definitely that you could tap in with me. Let's work on getting that, because that's gonna be thing that's gonna hold you back in future applications. They didn't know at one point you struggled with that and you gave up and you threw the towel.
Yeah, because I remember I think my utilization is kind of high right now, so now that I'm talking, I got to pay off my. Because I'm trying to do what you said. I kind of like almost maxed out my Capital One to 4,000. I just haven't paid it off. I need to pay it off, but as far as like growing, my credit's almost 7. I think my Equifax is at 715, even with the bankruptcy. So, is it possible to get up to the high 780s or 750s again?
Couple of years.
Couple years.
If you go to Experian and then you put, I'm gonna make all my on-time payments for the next 24 months, it'll tell you estimate where your scores would be. So you could use what I was showing you guys. If it doesn't give you that option, what you do is it says if you want to get your free bureau, say yes, because a lot of times they have a free version. Watch and look at all 3 reports and then go back to the membership and then downgrade back to the free, and now you got it for free. So you could do that every couple of months throughout the year. So I get all 3 your reports from Experian for free. I would at least a minimum of every quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
I wish I knew fucking 3 years ago.
So once you do that, just log in there and then go to the simulator and then put in, I make all my payments on time for the next 24 months. And just based on how you're looking right there, it'll let you know how high you can go.
Because all my credit cards now moving forward are all on auto pay. And I mean, I don't have that much credit cards to be in debt anyways. Like I said, my highest is 4,000. My credit one's only like 700 because I'm just now starting to get credit cards in the mail, but like you said, I'm trying to stay away from all those garbage ones, those trash ones, and I'm just trying to focus on the Capital One so I'm able to get in a tier 1 bank. I'm definitely gonna use Federal Credit Union to my advantage and just keep making all my payments for a while until I could ask for an increase on that.
Definitely. I already told you how much you got to spend, and you got to make sure you bring the balances down, because when you go apply and you're maxed out like that, that's a red flag and you get terminated right then and there. So okay. That down, and I said, go in there if you want to have a little bit of look where you're positioned to go in the next 2 years, and put that you pay off all your debt, and you make all your payments on time for the next 2 years, and it's going to give you at least, I can't go further out than that because that's not realistic, right? To say 5 years, right? 2 years is a little bit more something that's manageable, right? And then after you get there, then you can go ahead and go do the same thing and go back, and now the next 2 years, which is 4 years from now, where you're going to be. But you know that bankruptcy is always going to hold you back.
Yeah, for 10 years it stays on the record, right?
Exactly. But if you take it off and they don't know that you have it, now you got a whole different story.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys. Just real quick on just speaking on FICO Father. Remember, he was only scheduled to talk for an hour and a half, and he definitely over delivered. It's your volume. So make sure, please, to show him some love. Tap in with them if you have any further questions. The letters are key. Letters are key. People don't do, even if I give you the letters, half of you probably won't even do it, just because of there's no attachment to it. Having those letters and doing it, it works for you. It'll give you more momentum to help other people down the road. And I really, suggest and advise, if you want to be to his level, you just got to invest at his level. And it all starts with sections. Obviously, he's very underplayed, meaning for the knowledge that he knows, I put him up there with him 500 key. So definitely, that's how I consider him more than a friend. Definitely doing this for you guys means a lot to me. So definitely, I owe him two big favors. So just know, value those relationships. Loyalty is key. Remember, salt looks like sugar. Never do no one dirty. Keep it 100, keep it a buck. And going back to JR, show those wins. $100, $500. Show what you're doing, man. People do want to work with you, but they just want to see some kind of results. So any last minute things real quick, FICO Father, if you want to end, any last words? And like I said, I appreciate that.
I just want to let them know, because I want them to really understand that the information I gave you guys today, and you guys can test it for yourself. You guys got it. You wrote it down. Start asking one by one all those questions, see what answers you get. And I promise you that if not 95 or 99% of them don't know it, you're just going to be like, this is crazy. That's how much ahead of the curve you guys are. You're ahead of 95 to 99% of the people with the information I gave you. And they could be even in the credit business, and very few people could get a separate plate. And it's not to brag or anything, but that's how passionate, that's how much hard work I put to know the information I gave you. And you guys could go directly to the banks. And I assure you, you guys got this information. Yeah, put me to the test. Go to the bank and ask these questions, but you're asking them like you don't know the answer. And see the kind of responses you get. And they give you bullshit information. They lie to you. The stuff I gave in you, this is proven. I done it myself, and I done it for my clients. So anything I shared today, I got receipts for it. And I showed you guys behind the scenes the receipts as well, right? Now go and take this out to the crowd, and you'll see how much value this. You guys took the time, right? Because there's one thing that we all have that you're never ever gonna get back, and that's the amount of hours you guys spent to be here with me tonight. I just want you to know that it's worth thousands of dollars, because you can go years and you're not even gonna get half of the information I gave you guys. So please don't let it go over your head, because you don't understand how much value I just dropped. This could be the reason that you guys are getting that extra $100,000. And then as you keep on doing the same thing I gave you, believe it or not, you could turn that 100 grand into a $250,000 to a $500,000 to $1 million in the next few years. Just because you keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And some people might think, hey, that don't work. Okay, if you grab a basketball and you keep shooting and shooting and shooting and practicing and training over and over, don't you notice you keep getting better and better and better and better and better? And you don't notice that those same athletes keeps on still doing that, right? And they just keep getting better at their craft. That's what's gonna happen, because these banks are just gonna notice that you're just getting better and better and better, and you're never missing a shot, and you're performing in the clutch. So it might seem so simple what I gave you guys, but just know I gave you guys like a rocket ship. Fuck a regular plane. I just put you guys on a freaking jet right now and put it to work, man. Y'all remember me for the rest of your life, because like I said, you're not gonna get the information. I'm always working on adding to this, and I gave you guys the best of the best and extra. So I don't even know what else to add, because man, I went all in, man. I didn't leave nothing else.
Real quick, so me and Raul, we and Raul, FICO Father also knows Neo. So me and Raul knew Neo at the time where his mentorship was 5,000. Neo's mentorship now is at 50,000 to 100,000.
75.
Yeah. So just know where FICO's at right now. Just know where FICO's at right now, and definitely the value he's gonna give you. So just think about that, because that price, he's not doing it. You know what I mean? That ain't regular price. on whatever he offers you. He's got a lot of packages going on. You know what I'm saying? So just pick the one that fits you, but don't be scared to. If you got to spend a little more, just know that's going to give you more access, and that's what we want. We want more.
They're gonna make that money back. Partnering up with me, they'll make that money back off the trade lines and off the audits. So they're gonna get my services for free, man, if they put in the work. And they only have to post. They don't even have to talk. Just post all year round, and people are gonna ask for those services because they don't have a credit specialist to go to. There ain't no credit specialist in the family. You see what I'm saying? Every single time I go in rooms and you're there, Ecom, I'm correcting these so-called experts all the time. They get scared when I go on the stage. They stay quiet. A question gets asked, I stay quiet. I want to hear what they say. I stay quiet, right? And then I step in. And if they're wrong, I correct them. If they miss something, I add to it. And, you know, obviously I'm not perfect. And I also say, listen, if you think what I'm saying doesn't make sense, because I definitely don't know all the answers. I want to hear your point of view because you might look at something slightly different than me. And I'll be like, you know what? I want to try that. So I definitely don't know it all, but I definitely know a lot, you know? And I'm always going to say that I don't know it all, right? Because you never know what you can learn from somebody. I don't care if the person only has 1 month, 1 year, or 10 years, or 20 years. You never know what you can learn. So that's why I'm always open, and I don't care how young you are. Come in, give your point of view. Let's collab, because you might have something that I never tried. Because I definitely didn't try everything. Because if that was the case, why am I still learning? So that's one thing I share with you guys. Never, no matter how well you do and how big you succeed, always leave your options open to hear something else, because that might add more value to what you're already doing. But also keep in mind that just because they're teaching something, I would double check it. I will fast check them, because you'd be surprised how much people, just to make it seem like they know, they'll start throwing out this fake information. So I be in rooms where I'm dying to give my point of view, and I'm like, I really don't know, but it don't sound right. And I'm double checking. And a lot of times, and I would say about half, they're fucking lying. They be lying. Like, I'm gonna give you something right now. There's people that talk so big about this tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 credit, but I'm talking about on the business side, like the net 30s, the net 60s, the net 90s, the 120. You don't even need that shit if your personal credit file is right. And if you want to get the real bag, you want these banks to give you 50, 100 grand, you think because you got these net 30 bullshit $1,000 vendor accounts, that's how they're gonna give it to you? No, your personal credit gotta be right. You gotta make sure your personal credit is cleaned up. It got good banks, it got high limits, you're using them. And also I wanna share this with you guys. If you build those net 30s, net 60s, net 90s, right? Net 120s, if you go 1 year without using them, they close the account and they're gone. They're not like the personal where they don't close it until, you know, let's say a year and a half, right? But guess what? When they close them, they still stay on your report for 10 years. So imagine you got these net accounts that you don't even need. Now you're forced to go buy shit that you don't need. So if you're gonna get them, it better be because you're getting materials that you need for your business. The great thing about credit, I get a Chase card, I could use it for whatever I want. So there's no reason not to use it. But with the vendor account, you got to buy those materials, right? And it only could grow so much. It's never going to grow to a $20,000, $30,000 credit card account, right? So a lot of people don't talk about that. So I urge you guys, if you really want to win big, your personal credit, stop running away from it. Because a lot of people try to take shortcuts. Okay, it'll get you a few bullshit accounts, but it's not going to get you the real bag. So I'm telling you, so you guys can know. And another thing is, because this is something I'm going to be putting in place, I'm going to personally get anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million in the next couple of months. And I'm going to do it with 0 vendor accounts. So I'm going to show you that you don't need them. And I already got people in place that I'm coaching, and I already got them over $50,000 on credit cards on the business side without no vendor accounts. So don't let people fool you with that bullshit that you need to do that. Now, if you're gonna get things that you need for your business, that's fine because you're using them. But the worst thing to do is you go spend $10,000 on all these accounts and you don't even need them. So you gotta watch where you spend your money. You gotta make sure you're spending your money right, because that's the fastest way to go out of business. So be very careful where you put your dollars. If you see something's not working, switch it up. Don't keep on spending and spending and spending because you're like, oh, I already spent this much and I want to make my money back. Well, you could just be digging yourself into a bigger hole. So I think that's a good gem to drop there, because if we're not careful, you start trusting somebody, man, I mean, income can even probably add to that. Like, it's crazy. I've been seeing all kinds of stuff like that. So be careful, you know, where your money's going and seeing where you are getting return on your money. And network among yourself. You got a nice little group here. Say, hey, let me know what you invested in and you got your money back, right? Leverage each other, man. Always network, because you never know. If combined with all these trials and errors, man, they go a long way.
Hey, man, appreciate your time, FICO. Like I said, your time is valuable. And like I said, show him some love. If you want to get on this program, definitely, slide in his DMs. Seriously, it'll definitely pay itself. And what I mean, if you have the credit, use your credit, back up the cash back or the points, whatever, and make it worth your while. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you, FICO. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, this call is recorded for you guys, so stay tuned for that. What I would do, if you want to watch the call over, maybe go over your question again. That way you're really focusing on your question and making sure it was answered properly. I mean, it was, but just going over it, now it makes you more like, hey, you know what? My question made sense, and now it's more clear. You know what I mean? Sometimes we get on these calls and FICO dropped too much information. Now you're like, shit, man, I don't know where to start.
Brain overload.
Go back. So appreciate that.
You got to take the notes down, and I would review the notes once a month, minimum. Believe me, I don't expect you guys to learn this overnight. It's impossible. The only reason why you see I know all of this stuff, right? Except for obviously, there's just too many banks that I don't recommend, so I want to make sure I leave them out. But you see how I have all of this stuff? I didn't use no notes pretty much the whole entire presentation because I practice this every day. So to get to that point, you got to keep on practicing it. And then the last thing I leave you with, even if you master something, just know once you go 4, 5, 6 months, a year without doing it, you're going to get rusty. And the best example I could give you, look at athletes. You don't see that they take a small little break and then they have a preseason. And even before the preseason, they're training before that. And if they don't, when the season starts, they're all over the place. And then they start heating up during the middle of the season, right? So that shows you how important it is to always go back to your stuff, right? And whatever business you guys are doing, create a journey, create a blueprint so that later on, when you get really, really big, you can hire somebody and say, here's my blueprint. I need you to study this manual so that you could take yourself out of that and then you can go into the next project. But if you don't create a manual where you document it step by step, like you're doing it for somebody that's 5 years old, so that it could be no reason for them to mess up. And as you're going through certain things, document it as well. I had this issue, document it. I had this issue, document it. Also, other people in your business, talk to them with certain things that are pros and cons. Don't only focus on the positive. Document all of that. Because what happens is now you created a manual for you to step out of that and then go on to something else. And you also, you create a manual that you could sell if somebody else wants to run that business. And now that's making you money. And it's hard to put it together when you say, oh, let me make it right now. If you start doing it today and you start adding to it, and now you got 2 years worth of information, 5 years worth of information, that's so much easier than you're saying, oh shit, let me put back all this information from the last 5 years. So journal all your stuff, all your wins and your losses. That's worth money, just so you guys know. And nobody shares that. So that's another takeaway right there.
All right, brother. I know we can go all day, man. You got vast knowledge. Definitely.
Hey, man, you told me to not leave nothing on the table, man. I'll keep going. But I know it was only for an hour, but you know what we ended up going for? Like almost what?
I got no more data, bro.
Yeah, I went over 3 hours, bro. Oh, I forgot. I'm gonna eat up all your data. So no, yo, guys, a pleasure. I appreciate everybody that follows me. Stay tuned. Because I'm always dropping stuff on Clubhouse as well. So you guys can follow my club and I give a lot of free gems as well.
All right, guys.
And put it like this. I went so all out that I got a sore throat. Lost my voice. So tomorrow I'm in trouble.
All right, guys. Hey, love you, FICO. Thank you, man. Appreciate you guys. Make sure to post, guys.
Man. Nice to meet all of you guys. I want to hear a lot of wins, man. 2022, let's go.
I want to see
Oh, yeah.
who's part of the 100 club.
Pull the trigger. Don't be scared.
All right.
And also, before you close it out, I'm gonna say one more thing. On my board, every day I wake up, I look at this board, right? I don't know if I could switch the camera, but I'm gonna show you guys and I'll read it. This is my favorite thing. I look at this every day when I leave my house or when I wake up. And basically, just get started and fail, fail, fail. So you guys got to get started. If you don't get started and you keep on just trying to prepare to get ready, you're just basically leaving all those notes, letting them collect dots. Your best experience, your best teacher is you guys going out. Don't be scared. It's okay to fail. I failed miserably. This guy right here has failed many, many times. And the one thing that I'll leave you guys with that really helped me, I had why. I have motivation. I kept pushing play. So surround yourself with positive people. If you're around people that are negative and bringing you down for what you do, you need to change your circle. And sometimes, and I hate to say this, you gotta get away from family. And you gotta get away from loved ones. You need to find somebody that's gonna be like, yo, what are you doing? Or they're pushing you, like, yo, come on, let's go. The best, and I know not everybody here probably in a relationship, but if you're in a relationship where you live with somebody and they're supportive, you don't understand how big that is. And I'm gonna leave you guys with this, right? Because this is big. You need to do that for them. You don't understand how much that will mean to that significant other for you guys, especially for us men. When you do that for them, they with more willingness, they want to do things for you, have everything ready for you, cook for you, because they see how appreciative, because you actually appreciate them and you really want to see them win. So when you both do that, man, you're gonna see differences in your relationship, man. You're gonna see really big.
I want to add one thing. FICO, just so Fat Joe did an interview, and every time Terrace Squad was around, Fat Joe would be around 50 people, like 50 of his boys. Obviously, Fat Joe was the wealthiest one, so he put everyone on. And he came to a realization. He sat everybody down and was like, look, guys, I don't got it no more. I know I look like I got it. I don't got it. So told everybody he was broke. He wasn't, but he told everyone he was broke. Out of those 50 people, 6 people stayed. You know what I mean? So you know who's around you for what reasons. And that hits heavy right there. So real loyalty is that goes far. Know who's around you. You know what I mean? People they like what you bring to the table, but they're not giving you anything back, right? There's 3 kinds of people: the plus ones, the minus ones, and the zeros. Look at your contacts. Go through your contacts. If that person is not adding value to you and just remaining the same, block them. Leave them out. If the person is adding value to them, okay, I'm gonna keep them. But everyone else is taking away from you, taking away your time. I ain't trying to hang around and have a beer. I'm trying to do something. All right, I'll leave you with that, guys. Hey, I appreciate it. Tap in, and FICO Father, you at least got like 4 lined up. So definitely, tap in with them so you can definitely make you guys grow more.
I just gotta bless him with one more, my newest sauce that is not even out. If you guys, look at Josh. If you guys have people that are supportive of you guys, right? And either they're gonna help you out or they want to partner up with you, create a WhatsApp group or a Telegram group or Discord group where you guys stay in touch. I like WhatsApp. I'm a big fan of WhatsApp, but it eats up your memory. So what you do is anything that you're gonna post that's gonna drive up business for you, you send it in that chat and you make it generic and then tell them to post it on their social media so that they could draw leads for you. And then you work the leads and you split the profit with them. So that's something that nobody's doing. So sometimes people, they don't know what to post. So you make the post and then send it in the group. And now you don't have to send it to everybody. You send it to one group, everybody has it, push them to post it. And that's gonna draw you revenue. Nobody's doing that. I just made this up right now and I'm gonna pull you guys. That's some fire information right there. If you build that group up pretty good and they're consistent, you're gonna be like, wow, this is crazy. Because you make it easy for them. All they gotta do is click on the damn thing, on that video, on that link, and then repost it to their status. That quick. So, definitely that's a major gem right there that I just dropped if you guys can make that group. So you already know, man. Thank you for having me. I expect wins, man. I gave you guys ways to make money. No excuses. And you know what, man, Josh said to throw another one in there, man. Let me just throw another one. If you guys got a service, right? Nobody's doing this. Nobody's doing this. If you guys got a service, a business that you guys do, like say, for example, I'm a barber. You guys come get a haircut. I'm grabbing your phone and I'm logging into your Instagram Live, and if you have two phones, you log into the Facebook Live, and then you record from their pages that you're cutting that person's hair or whatever service you're doing. And then in Instagram, the cool thing, you could pin a comment. So I'll pin the comment and I'll say, follow my plug or follow whatever you guys want to put. And then if you could add any little other things there, like some major accomplishments that person has done, then you put it there. You're talking about yourself, and that's going to give reasons for people to follow because they're seeing your work live in action. So that right there is going to bring up your follower counts. The higher your follower counts, the more credibility you're going to build when you're trying to sell something. So that's a major sauce right there too, man. So you already know. I love you guys all. Thank you for having me. Yo, let's take action.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Have a good one, man. All right, guys. I'm out before my data runs out. All right, guys.
Bye.